States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just before we get started, some people have asked some questions. And I have to leave by 12:30. My sister-in-law unexpectedly passed away yesterday.
Oh boy.
Probably a massive heart attack in Florida, so she was going to be missed. So if I leave at 12:30, you know what's
Yes,
we've got arrangements to
No,
make.
we all
She's
have to leave.
coming
Yes.
back. Okay. That bit of not so good news being said. George, landfill solar project, and Bill Rothar. Where's Rothar?
Bill
He was
was
here.
here. We could get started.
Yeah, let's get started.
Like the town all knows, we're looking to put a solar farm on a landfill, and we went out for an RFP. We got 7 responses. So of the 7 responses, we had a team: myself, Anne Marie Pedenti, Bill Rothar, and Ken Testa. Looked at all aspects of it. She looked at the legal. Bill looked at the financials to make sure this company has got the financial ability to do the project, and Ken looked at the technical aspects of it. So we're very confident that we've come up with a firm, Borrego Solar Systems, out of Lowell, Massachusetts. So we're looking to accept their bid, and what they're actually looking to do is take about 14.8 acres of the 70-acre site.
I have a copy of their proposed
picture.
plan.
Right. It's actually inside the little book. I gave them a copy. So it's not one.
Yeah.
So they're going to cover.
It's in here?
Yeah.
Well, you can get another copy. So they're going to look to cover about 14.8 acres of the 70-acre site. And the reason for that is only certain areas you can cover the solar with, because we've got a lot of sloped areas. They're going to probably produce about 2.4 megawatts. Okay, we're looking at a 20-year lease.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It's been a year.
And now that we sent it up for an RFP, we're getting $40,000 more than what the other
Right,
company
which
had
is-
offered up
right.
front.
No, that's what I was congratulating. You always call it megas. You finally
Megas.
call it megawatts.
The megawatt. So we're going to get 2.4 megawatts out. They're going to pay us $52,000 per megawatt,
Wow.
which comes $146,000 a year for 20-year period. They're willing to work the numbers. They're willing to stack it up front. If we went to payments, say $300,000 a year up front, and diminish the payments at the end. So the numbers Bill can work out with them yet. They're very
So
flexible with that.
I thought that there were 1 to 2 megawatts being produced on like a 5-acre parcel. So why is it so
There's
much?
only limited area that they're using because of the slopes. No, that's these
No,
numbers.
that-
And of all these 7 companies came in, I would say 5 of them identified the same areas that I identified with Ken Testa.
And they all said 2.5 megawatts?
More or less, 2.25, 2. They're all right.
And don't-
Not all of them. Probably 5 of them. 2 of them were just way out there. They took the whole 70 acres and just put a grid across it and said, we can develop,
And don't forget, back in 2008, when we were attempting to research and develop solar on the landfill, we knew, based upon that from the feasibility study, what really could be generated off the site. And that's pretty close to what came to us
Right.
in 2008.
And those numbers at that time were probably more like 60,000. I've seen some of the
Well,
old bids.
I just don't understand anything about these mega.
Okay.
I don't
So-
know
so
what,
let's
if
get-
2 point,
4 mega.
what will that light up or?
Well, LIPA is buying, well, for instance, the town of Riverhead uses probably about 10.5 megawatts a year.
Okay.
So just get an idea of facilities.
But LIPA has that new solar initiative where they're trying to get 50 megawatts in order
Right.
to increase their renewables to 15% by 2015
Right.
from the current 7.5% that's renewables.
Right. It's a
So-
LIPA feed-in tariff. It's an incentive for these companies to come in. They're offering to subsidize
Yeah.
50 megawatts in Long Island. That's why this is time sensitive.
But
We want to get
I think
through
the
this.
bottom line is what George was saying to me, that in 20 years, we'll bring in over $2 million.
2 point,
It's 2.45.
well, no, it's
Well,
actually
it's
2.9 million if we take the equal payments, 2.9 million.
Right.
But that number is more than likely, we have conservative estimate here, more than likely that's going to go up, and I'll give you 2 reasons why. When they do their final engineering report, they may be able to expand that 14.5 acres up to maybe 15 acres, which would produce more megas,
Right.
and we'd get additional revenue.
You're
Yeah.
back.
The other very interesting thing is if you look at solar panels, and, you know, getting involved with this for about a year, I've kind of studied them. When you put, right now, the panel they're going to use is what they call a E-Link 245 watt panel. The technology is changing so fast that by the time they install these panels, which may be a year from now, or 2 or 3 years down the road, that 245 is going to be a 265.
Right.
So in the same footprint, you're going to increase the amount of electricity they're generating, and they're willing to work a profit sharing with us. So as technology changes and they produce more,
Well, that
we'll
was gonna
get
be,
more.
gonna be my question.
Right.
Yeah.
As they
Good
produce
idea.
more, so we covered all the bases here. So more than likely, it's a conservative estimate, these numbers are going to move up.
Because the land leases looks good right now, but 10 years from now, it might be
Right.
like, whoa, what's going on?
And
They're
they
giving away the
have the
store.
contract, they have
And-
the contract with the town of East Hampton
Right.
landfill?
Right. The city of East Hampton just completed a project about 16 acres, and we got a letter of reference from the city saying what a
East
great.
Hampton,
East
Massachusetts.
Hampton, Massachusetts,
Hampton,
right.
Massachusetts.
It's outside of Pittsfield, if you want to send these down. So we got a letter of reference.
Well, it's obvious, looking at the examples, they got a lot of municipal work that they've done. So
Yes.
Obviously,
And that's what we looked at
they've been
also.
through this gambit already.
Right, we're looking for a company that's got experience doing landfills. 3 or 4 of them that have done landfill before. We've done, you know,
Right.
roofs and et cetera, so.
Well, I have two things to say. One, thank you, because this is huge, George. If this comes to pass, if they do get
Yep.
the award from LIPA based on this, you know, this could
Right.
be
There's
$200,000
heavy
a year.
competition out there
Right.
with LIPA, that's why we wanted to move quickly.
Time sensitive. And they've got to sign the power purchase agreement with LIPA. LIPA's already looked at this project. They've approached LIPA. They're very favorable, and it's almost going to be one that's going to be approved
Can
fairly
we,
quick.
in order to
Any-
provide a background for why we didn't take, Anne Marie, if you don't mind, George, just lay a foundation for what came in, why we're selecting this one, and what didn't work with the other one, so we have,
Sure.
even though it's
I
an official
actually-
town board meeting, but I'd like to lay a foundation for why
Sure.
this
I
one.
have a copy for all of you, so as I go through it, you'll see, I have like the key pages from each of the competitors.
Now, do we have to do anything as far as zoning for them to be able to sell it to the grid?
No. No. And we already accomplished
Oh,
our
because it's
permissive.
industrial B,
Yeah,
still,
but it's municipal property.
right?
According to the law, the fixtures that they're putting on the property are not attached, so it's considered personal property, the solar panels. So it will maintain its status as municipal property.
All right, so if you could go through just the
Sure.
analysis to give us,
Okay, I'm gonna take it in reverse,
Exactly.
order. Vanguard essentially offered a, 2 cents per, kilowatt and a fixed lease of 25,000 per year. So I think it's very obvious to the town
It's
board
outside of
why
what
we
we
didn't
asked for.
accept that. The next one was Teca Solar. Candidly, Ken's feeling was they projected a capacity of 6.7 megawatts, utilizing a total of 35 acres of the site. We know from the prior history in 2008 and a comparison of all the other proposals, from an engineering standpoint, it was deemed not reasonable and not probable that that could ever happen.
That's the company I said just took the map, they put a grid right across it, right over the sloped areas. You can only go up to like 12 degrees. You get steeper, you can't put solar because it'll slide.
Well, but
They're anchored with like a
these-
concrete base.
Right.
I just have one thing, these, that wanna put on the cap,
Right.
do they know they can't puncture the cap?
Absolutely. The design itself is included in the brochure that Councilman Gabrielson gave to you. It's really unique. They're attached to like concrete slabs.
Right, it's a concrete base.
And it sits above the base of the cap.
Okay.
And that's
You're
why,
like an
What's this-
expert in
if you
this.
can't, they're not gonna penetrate the cap at all here.
Well,
But
even
the
then,
only
we
thing
got,
you
we got
can't
about
go-
3 feet of fill, 3 feet of
Yeah,
cap.
probably 2-3 foot, you're right, Jane.
Right, 'cause we made it thick on
And,
purpose.
and that's why some of these pros aren't realistic, because if you go past a certain point on the slopes, that whole thing will slide. That's why these guys that come across, they grid the whole thing, it's, you know, they just, okay, I'll give you 6.2
It's not
megas.
possible.
Yeah.
okay?
I
But
know
even
that
with
it
his
was-
proposal at 6.2 megas, his number
Right.
was low.
Correct.
Proportionately, he was
Correct.
still low, even though he had a
Correct.
high number, right?
Correct, because his lease payment was only twice as much as Borrego, despite the fact that he was projecting more than 3 times
Three
the amount
times,
of
exactly.
megawatts.
So they
So
were just out.
he's out?
Right. Cyback offered $75,000 a year.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
The next one is
Solar City.
Solar City. Um, Solar City
Trying to remember what this
was.
Is that the one that had no experience with landfills?
Correct.
They had no landfills.
147 annually, which the numbers of Borrego were still better.
And they have no, Solar City
Correct.
had no
Right.
experience. Borrego's done this exact
And they have
job.
invited us, the whole town board, to take a field trip to East Hampton, Massachusetts, get a tour of the facility, and talk with the local officials.
Stud Hill
How
has
was
a children's camp up there, right outside of East Hampton, Massachusetts,
Is
I
that up
think.
there in
Yeah.
Pittsfield? I'm not sure where it is.
Northampton, yeah. I think it's further east.
We got Southampton there too, or West Hampton? That's by Northampton. That doesn't help.
The
a
next
nice
one,
area.
Yeah.
Dewey Solar.
Okay, Springfield, okay.
Dewey Solar had a fixed price of $6,000 per year. So that's obvious why we didn't take that one. And then basically, it was very close between American Capital Energy and Borrego Solar. The reason why Borrego Solar was chosen was based upon the financial administrator's review of their financial portfolios.
Okay, let's listen to that then.
Okay, that's,
Well, first, if you look at the,
I don't mean to cut you off,
No,
but I wanna
absolutely.
lay
if
the
you look at the
foundation for
RFP
the.
between the two, Borrego has completed significant projects that they financed, okay? In comparison to American Energy, they've completed 4 projects that were customer purchases. There's a couple of projects that they financed that have not, that are in the permitting stage, so we don't even know if they have the wherewithal to finance ours. In addition to the fact that I'm looking, the latest financial statements they had were 2009 and 10 versus 10 and 11.
Borrego 10 and 11.
Borrego has 10 and 11, which obviously we're a year behind on these. We don't have the current information even as of 11. And they,
And despite the fact that the financial administrator requested it verbally and in writing.
right.
The most
He-
up-to-date financials.
Right, he sent it to us, and he sent us the latest, these are our latest financials, and it's as of 2010. Shareholders' equity is less than $1 million in American Capital, and I don't know what kind of line of credits they have in order to finance, because this is from 2010, to finance the projects they're in the middle of doing, never mind ours.
Right.
Their gross profit is similar to Borrego, but as I said, Borrego has done this and completed financing several, and in their financials, they have $13 million in capital assets in equity. So, what's that?
Did we check with the other municipalities that Borrego has worked with to see if they've been meeting their projections and if they've been making their payments
Yes, right
timely?
here.
Councilman Gableson provided you with.
City of East Hampton, plus if you want the financials from them, I have
This
them
is the
also.
first thing that I have from.
Yes. And then I can provide the city's total package, if you want to see it, which I have in my office.
No, I'm comfortable. Bill's reviewed that. You've looked at it. I'm comfortable with what I'm gonna deem. I feel like a
It's
judge
very-
today. Expert testimony
Yes, we-
on the subject.
No, we spent a lot of time, and we were so thorough.
I'm gonna give you a hug at the end of this.
Should I be frightened?
Right, yeah.
Now, there's one other, I actually finished speaking to them actually 8 o'clock last night with their sales rep. What we're also looking to do, and I said you have to provide an educational facility for our children, that's very important to me. So they're actually gonna set up a site review area where the children can take field trips, see how it works, and they can also tie in with the school, where the kids can sit in the classroom as the sun rises, and they can see the numbers change and how the sun, you know, all the different
Oh, wow.
details. So we're gonna set that up with them, and I'm on board with that.
Great.
Good
So I think
job.
that's good.
So,
Two.
did you wanna finish up Borrego's, or are you done with their financial?
Yeah, I mean, everything
You're
was
comfortable?
said. The only, I think the only thing I didn't say was, even the financials for Borrego has included these financings already. They have in-house engineers and so forth that means they're
Excellent.
established, they've done this before. A lot of what American Capital is doing is hiring outside
Subcontractors.
It was-
subcontractors.
they got together a
And that's
group.
not as stable as far as the
Yeah,
cost that
they
they
had
have to
four
produce them,
partners
so.
to their group, right?
Very good.
Nervous.
Thank you.
So,
What else do we have to cover, cause it seems like Borrego is the clear front runner here.
That's it. I mean,
And
we
Ken
did
Testa-
it subject to a permissive referendum. The referendum period has expired, so we're good to go on a lease.
And Ken Testa, I know he's not here, but the deputy supervisor's shaking her head that
Yeah,
that
he was-
he's
he's fine.
confirmed that he's okay with. George, I have to tell you, this is, you followed this from day one. I think I was a little skeptical,
You
and
were
you
a couple
followed
times,
this
but
through.
I wouldn't let it go.
And you followed this through, and that's what it takes to make the town a better place. And this,
right.
this
Good.
is a legacy right here for you. Although we have to get LIPA to approve it, I guess that's the
Power price, right, they gotta put this stamp, but
Well,
that's
actually,
their approach.
that's a good segue, actually, that
Good job,
comment
George.
Supervisor made, because I think we all stand poised to think this is a great idea for the landfill, without
Yes.
a doubt, George.
It is,
It's something that was envisioned when we were capping it way back when, or the town was, I wasn't even on the board at the time. But I think Riverhead's done a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, it's another. great
And I was
item
looking,
for
I was
the town.
looking through to figure out things that we've done, just not only this year, but in previous years. The natural gas card that John did just recently, the competitive bid we did for biodiesel. We looked at initiatives that way. Of course, Jody with the chapter 103 to require cycling for residential commercial, that went through finally. The wind energy that they were looking at, we were
Right.
exploring, and you took some field trips to do that. The pamphlets that engineering put together for the wastewater and the mitigating all the stormwater. So Riverhead's doing a lot of things, even the trees that the supervisor accepted from NASCAR to go green. I'd like to take it one step further if I could, and I really want to look at ways that this town can move energy-wise. Not only, all our municipal buildings could probably benefit from solar. I think we have to look at gas consumption. I think our old police cars are really gas guzzlers. I still think if we get smaller, more efficient vehicles for our non-police personnels, that would save a ton of gas. And we could probably get top dollar on auctioning of old police cars when they get ready to get rid of them. So I'd like to look at ways that we could do that. I don't know whether we have to look at a company to do that, but I really want to put together all the things we've done, because we've got a whole lot that we've done. Not a lot of initiatives this year alone. And see where we could just polish it all up, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, I think that going to smaller vehicles, if you look at all around the country, they're all going to smaller police vehicles
Well, not even, right.
for their patrol and their
Detectives.
detectives and
Well, I wasn't worried
officers.
worried much about the police, because we know we need
But,
that for safety.
I think there is the first place to look for as far as the detective division
Well, I
is
think-
concerned, and then go down to the town
I think
level.
I think taking old police cars and shifting them to engineering and to recreation
Right.
and to, at 8 miles a gallon or 10 miles a gallon is just absolutely insane. And
Well, they do better than that. They get about 15, 16.
Oh, I don't know about that. Well,
I drive one.
maybe when they're new, but
I
not when they got
drive one with
160.
100,000 miles on it, or 90,000 miles on it, it gets 15, 16 miles
Do you
per
really?
gallon.
Even still, we could do better than that, though.
No, you can.
We could double that.
The problem, it's not a problem, but when we now run the police cars to 150,000 miles, whereas before we were running them to 100, 110, and they hold up, and by the time they're done with 150, there's not a lot left of them. So I agree, the smaller cars, and the smaller cars are coming for the police department.
But they're
because
they're not banged up too much. I mean, 150, it's a 2-year-old car, and it's all open highway driving for the most part, or stop and go driving. So it's probably not, structurally it's probably okay.
Structurally, but
But you get the
transmission.
taxi companies, and you'll get people that want a knock-around car that would probably give you,
Yeah.
a pretty good penny for those at an
But you
auction.
have to realize too, to go green, you gotta put
Especially if
your
you keep the
foot
lights on it, they can
forward
really have fun with it.
and spend money. Because going green is gonna cost you a little more than not going
Actually,
green.
going green on the garbage trucks in chapter 103 actually saved us money, because they're saving a tremendous amount of money on gas, and they're upgrading their vehicles, and so that saved us $1 million
No, I'm
in
saying,
garbage
for the
collection.
town,
Well, I
to
just,
go out and purchase a green vehicle, it will cost you a little more than a regular gas guzzler.
Oh, yeah.
but George,
That's
this is
all
a
I'm
great
saying.
initiative.
$7,000
This
per
is
vehicle.
perfect. I think we could just do one, little bit more
Right.
as far as
Keep moving in that direction, at
townwide.
least we
I really
recognize it.
think, right, because there's so much waste here that we really don't pay much mind to.
And it's so important, landfill's a disaster for this town, such a negative, to get a positive
Right.
on that
Yep.
site. It's
Oh, yeah,
gotta
you could do sunbathing up there, it's great.
I don't know whether you're ever going to get a positive, but if you
Well, I
can
mean,
get
it's a positive
160
effort,
a year,
a positive effort.
Anything fallow,
And everybody
that can
says
be
that
utilized.
this is time sensitive for
It's a great use for the landfill.
LIPA's tariff, but to me, it's time sensitive to the taxpayer.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a little relief.
That's right.
And it's good use of the land, because
It's
it's
good
gonna,
use, perfect.
right.
And I think the educational part of it's good
Yeah.
too.
Let's
All right.
bring it back. Are we, to the landfill, are we all in favor of Borrega? I think you've made a compelling argument. I know you and I have had conversations.
I'm comfortable with their screening process, they did, absolutely.
Okay.
We were very-
All right, so, we'll have at 11:45 a special town board meeting.
No, it's going back to the grid. LIPA is paying, the initiative is LIPA is paying 22 cents, which is what we're probably paying. So its incentive is they're gonna make money.
Oh,
on
we
electric.
pay less than that
Less than that.
overall average, I think.
No, it's gonna go back to LIPA. We get the lease payment.
Yeah, it's a straight land lease deal.
Because East Hampton did the, buying the electric back. If you look at the numbers, they come in just the same as,
Yeah, well, we're
same
saving
as ours. 10 years, it's
$140,000 a
1.4
year.
million, we're one, yeah, it's almost the same numbers.
But this is a
We're
straight
saving
land lease, there's
$145,000
nothing
a
built
year on
into
our
this
utility costs. They're allowing
contract
them to-
as time goes on and profits may go
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
or technology changes, that there'll be readjustments done?
Yes, that's part of the deal we made,
Yeah.
with
Okay.
profit sharing in
Over
the
and
future.
above the projected 2.4,
Okay,
then we profit share.
good,
But
excellent.
the numbers have to change because technology is changing. As a
Absolutely,
matter of
on a
fact, we
daily
thought
basis,
they
right.
may trade the panels out in 3 years, but now they're telling me last night
Right.
that when this project actually gets finished, which they're looking to complete in 2013, at that point, it's so close, it may be at 245 to 265.
Well, you used to have the
So
solar
when we
panel
start,
sizes
our number
like
may
the
be
size of the
significantly,
farm.
which is an 8% increase in revenue for them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So-
Good,
All
excellent.
right, what's LIPA's timeframe, do we know, to make these decisions?
I don't know. I know time is of the essence, and
Right.
I know the competition is fierce, and I know Brookhaven's trying to put out their RF, I think it's
Yeah,
Brookhaven.
Brookhaven's behind us.
They're
Good, let's
behind
get-
us, so
That's a switch.
we wanna move
LIPA,
now.
right, so yes, it's time sensitive. And LIPA's looked very favorable upon all the landfills.
I can
Right.
find out next week. I have a meeting
Nice.
with LIPA, with Suffolk County Planning,
I was
Senator
under, it
Lavelle.
would be like within 30 days. That's the impression I was
Trying
given
to,
without anything concrete on it.
Figure out what they're going to do about all these other properties throughout our town that people, solar companies are coming in saying that they wanna put solar panels on farmland. So, we have a meeting next week with Joe Gregella and Dave Colon of Suffolk County Planning, Senator Lavelle, and LIPA to discuss how to help LIPA meet their 15% goal by 2015 as the state has mandated.
They really need a new authority.
All right, well,
They love
let's,
this stuff. Always get it.
Do I get my hug now or later?
No. Oh, Lord, this is
Okay,
disturbing.
Okay,
Hold his word.
I was gonna say, I didn't think you were a hugging kinda guy.
let's move on.
All right, we're good, we'll move on. Anne Marie, you have anything else before us? Yes, recycling coordinator. John, why don't you come on up? Thank you, Bill. Back to the budget.
Hi, John.
I wonder if the votes-
How you doing, John?
Good, I'll pass these out while I'm doing these.
Last we
Quarterly
spoke, I
reports.
thought we were talking about the Key Club doing something. Is that still where we're at?
Yes.
For recycling coordinator, if you will?
I have a resolution I prepared. I hope the town board
Recycling report
approves.
For the first and second quarter. This is what,
I
we'll
think
pay
it's
20%
a
back
creative
on
solution
in the quarter.
to meet the requirements and recommendations of the New York State DEC pursuant to their responses to our local solid waste management plan, and to avoid any issues or controversies with respect to personnel issues.
Okay.
So I think it's a really creative way.
Oh, I'm looking at his recycling, which you'll explain in a minute, but so, Key Club, give us the,
The
start
long
from
and
the
short of
beginning.
it is,
Yes.
the Riverhead High School Key Club is actually sponsored by
Sponsored?
the Greater Kiwanis Club of the town of Riverhead, but
That's
it's actually.
okay, I'm a Rotarian, I don't know. Who's that guy, that pain in the neck, that the Key Club, the Kiwanis? He knows who he is.
But anyway, for
Ice
years.
cream guy.
Harry Wilkinson
Oh,
Howard
Howard.
Wilkinson,
I
yeah.
love Harry Wilkinson. He's a good guy.
just had surgery, he's not doing
Did he? Is he all right?
gallbladder, he's not having a hard time recovering from it.
Yeah, George Dupre just had the gallbladder removed. He was, I guess, out of town, so. Okay, I'm sorry, we
That's okay.
digress.
For years, the Riverhead High School Key Club has been going green and furthering the statewide initiative for conservation and recycling. And they actually won an award in 2011 for their Going Green program. So what this resolution proposes to do is, pursuant to our residential solid waste carding contract and pursuant to our new Chapter 103, the town will be collecting recycling monies. And this resolution proposes to donate a portion of that money to the Key Club to continue and further their efforts regarding
Excellent.
education regarding recycling.
How much?
Terrific.
Well,
What are they looking for?
I left that blank.
Well, what are they looking for? Have they come up with a number?
Um,
They're talking about, I think George was at the meeting too, they want to do brochures, they want to buy recycling bins, so they just want to be able to reimburse for their expenditures from the education.
So this first and second quarter is what we have in the kitty at this point?
No, these are the checks we've received, these are copies you can pass around, I didn't bring other copies.
Just tell us how much there.
The first quarter, we received
2718.
2718, you have written
And
it?
then 3155.
Yeah, yeah, you've got them all written
Okay.
here, yeah, that's fine.
So we've taken a $6,000.
So,
And don't forget, Chapter 103 was just recently adopted, so that's
We'll
not
give them
really
20%.
implemented yet at this point. And
Give them
the
$1,000.
Department of Sanitation has sent out notices to all our commercial carders, educating them regarding the new requirements. So when that takes effect, we'll see a greater stream of recycling money.
Well, let me
Am I
ask you a
right, John?
question. I'm reading this thing here. Oh, go ahead, finish.
Right?
Oh, so we just gotta come up with a number.
Let me ask
let's
you a
see what they
question,
need.
because I see here you got, what have we taken in here? Because I see two numbers. I see totals, we only get 20%?
20%.
We get 20% of the recyclables because they process it.
Okay, so is it cheaper to allow European to do this or us to go to Brookhaven, Murph? We,
No. We had several meetings, the deputy supervisor and myself, Councilwoman Giglio, and we met with our residential carder and, of course, John. And it was determined that the current recycling that the private carder is able to do actually drives more money to the town of
Good.
Riverhead for
Okay.
recycling.
Can I ask you a question? This money, is this takes from just our carter that we have contract with the town, or what
Yep.
about the private ones that go into the condos and
Well,
stuff like that?
that just came into effect. We just adopted that a couple of months ago. So we don't have those reports yet back from the private quarters, and we're just starting to license them. The private quarters that come into the business to do, into town to do business. We don't have anything in the license agreement with recyclables for these private quarters that come into the town, but this deals with the town of Riverhead's municipal
Oh,
solid
so,
waste.
so we have nothing right now
No.
that was private car, even in the licensing agreement?
not yet.
Why don't we put it in the licensing agreement?
Well, it's,
we are.
we are.
We are.
We're not even set up computer-wise in our office to do permitting for those fellows yet.
Right, we're still planning.
So I've gotta get that through,
We're just starting to capture that now.
right.
All right, so look,
For them to.
I would think it would be a good idea, if you're gonna start it.
you have to come up here if you want
have
to talk.
this included in it.
Come sit up here, Jill.
What happened?
I thought last year the town board decided when, with the recycling, component of the program, that it's supposed to offset the taxes next year, so that money would come off, that line.
This 3,000?
Yeah, those checks.
Right.
What doesn't go to the Key Club would go towards that, tax line next year, so it would reduce your amount due on your garbage line.
Yeah, it's
Oh, well, that
gonna
would make
be-
sense. I think I
See,
thought we should go
I
into
was of the
sanitation.
impression that
Right.
we were going to be using the balance towards getting those, potbelly solar garbage cans
Yeah,
that
or-
are compressed.
Or recycling
Big belly, not
containers
pot
we
belly.
can
Big belly.
put around. I
Potbelly pig,
really
same thing,
think
potbelly pig.
it
Depends
it
who
should
you talk to.
come off recycled stuff.
I thought it has to do with like the taxing district, whoever pays into it has to make sure that they
Right,
receive
but we
that.
have to, but the recycling district, having the Key Club do this, it covers everything but
A
Shore and
multitude.
Wading River, which, how do we cover Shore and
Remember
Wading
that
River?
conversation?
It helps us with our grade.
I'm not worried about that.
I know.
David Tonjes
Didn't
and
we
his
use the money
corrupt
from last time
recycling
for
grade.
computers at the senior center or something like that?
Let's sugarcoat it.
Yeah,
I'm not giving him any data.
and I was upset about it.
Foiled it.
I thought that it should have been put back into the recycling program somehow.
Well, if you just give me an opportunity,
No.
I'll look at
Go ahead.
that, research that
Will you?
aspect of it. However, I will tell you this, we are mandated by New York State DEC, mandated as a town, an entire town, to actually adopt and implement solid waste management plan. So, to the extent that it affects everybody in the town, it truly does.
Well,
So this is a facet of the plan that is recommended and should be implemented.
But I'm saying it's where the money should go is that if we use the private carters who are doing the private places, that money should be used to help, the recycling and maybe get recycling containers, put them on the river where you
Right.
can put your cans in this one, your cardboard in this one, or
Yep.
instead of putting it back onto the taxpayers, which are, the condos don't pay that tax.
I agree.
And the private communities don't pay that tax. So
I know we
what you're
discussed
doing
it.
is, instead of helping everybody, you're helping maybe 1/3 of the
Okay.
people
But
of town
that's
of
why the
Riverhead.
Key Club is a good idea, because the Key Club's doing exactly what
The
you're
Key
saying.
Club
You're
is
helping
key.
No, no,
all of Riverhead with
I
education.
They're doing
agree,
away with
we
the
should
school
give
too.
percentages
Okay.
to the Key Club, and I agree with that, but
Yeah.
I said, the rest of it should go into, like, Councilwoman Jody Giglio said, into a recycling campaign for the town of Riverhead.
Yes.
It's fine, it's
We,
not a lot
we
of money, but
discussed it with the private quarters and we included in
Right
our
now, we have no money
RFP.
going in there.
When we sent out the RFP for our municipal solid waste, we said, we want 20% of the recyclables, and you are required to report to us on a quarterly basis. As far as private companies from outside of the town of Riverhead coming in and being hired privately from Foxwoods or from, I don't know that we can require that they give us a percentage of their recyclables, because that's been negotiated between the private community and the private
Sure.
carter that's coming in. So, I don't think that we were able to do it in the licensing agreement with the private carters that are going to be licensed with the town, but we were able to do it in the request for proposal for the garbage contract for our municipal
So
solid
I
waste.
think you're gonna look into that now.
Right.
To
Alright,
see if
let's-
we can do it.
Yeah, I can't imagine you can do that.
I can't imagine either. Jody,
Yes.
Jody, my
Let's,
question,
let's stick with, let's get,
yeah, my question to you with the 103, real quick. I haven't read the entire thing, but I understand the concept behind it. John Wesley Village, for instance, doesn't source separate at all. Now, they're gonna be required to?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
okay.
And our Department of Sanitation is sending out notices right now to all
I'm
the
sure
commercial
I'm sure they
clubs.
want to, there's just one dumpster, you just throw everything in a dumpster. Couch,
works.
bottle, do whatever.
Okay, so we have a total of 3155, or a total of 5,000, what's that, 800?
59.
Well, I have to go along with,
Five eight seven
Councilman Wooten.
four.
And why don't we give them 20% of what we collect for their expenses?
Does that work for them? I mean, I wanna give them what they need, but
No, I think if you told them how much you're willing to
You
budget.
give $1,000,
Oh, I
it should be
think it
enough
would
for them
be.
to do what they gotta do.
Because they, yeah, they're gonna.
$1,000 is a lot.
That's for the first half of the year, so we don't know what the full year is. You get paid quarterly.
so maybe we give them 20%, see if that works.
Yeah, it's about,
Yes,
it's
20% of the
about
annual.
$1,000, that should last them.
Okay.
Oh, I would think that.
And John, thank you,
Double,
and
that's
Gina
like
very
2,000
much
a
for
year,
putting
right?
this together. I know
Well,
it was a
I
lot
think
of
it's
work,
6
so
months.
I think
I
we should give
appreciate
1,000
it.
for the year, too.
Give me
I know I've been
1,000.
hounding you a little bit,
I
so.
don't
Well,
think so, because
The
then
office
they
was slack.
You have a budget
help
line of a
with
won't buy a
grand.
little, I think 1,000 for the year.
Slow, but we're getting to
I
it.
would give 1,000 for the
So,
year.
thank you.
I think
You're
that's the
welcome.
best way to
And
go.
buy some big
Yeah,
bellies.
they would be
to
happy.
put
See
some
what
recycling
response
all
to that
over
is.
every
Last
place.
one,
Yeah.
we did some grant.
That'd be
So
fine.
you wanna give 1,000 for the year
For the
then?
year, that he
Yeah.
said, so,
I think
but
that's-
you
okay.
put 1,000 in.
If they need more, they could
Okay.
always make
They
more, but
also
that's more than they
they
had
would love
before, and that's, I know what they do,
transportation.
because
That's what they
I give them, I do a lot of these presentations with them, so.
Transportation.
They would love a bus
And
driver.
then Emery, you're
to take
looking
them
Give
into
them
how
a
we
ride.
can
I
spend
do
the
that,
money
I do that every year.
for
But
these
if they
recycling
expand, they were
efforts.
hoping they could impose.
Councilman Wooten will be
I'll be
available.
driving them,
See,
in
now
fact,
we
I
need a
drove
bus
a
truck.
bunch
Well, they
of
wanna
big
go to
Fire
different
Island.
schools now, so.
Councilman Wooten
You
will
go to
be
career
available
schools.
to drive
And then
them.
including Wading River, Riley Avenue, so they said,
We went to Riley, we went to Phillips, we went to all the elementary schools.
So,
Good.
I didn't go to Wade River, though.
yeah.
Oh, plus they came here and gave us a test every year.
yeah,
They come here and give us a test.
if
I've seen the issue.
$1,000 is not enough, can you report
Hundred
back to the
times now,
board?
yeah, I still can't get it right.
If 1,000's not enough, report back to the board. I don't wanna short nickel and dime these
No,
kids.
no, $1,000, I can tell you, will be terrific.
Okay,
Very good.
alright, good. What else
Thank
we
you.
got here?
Parking
Parking
schedule.
And they can
schedule,
also
Bob.
work with the town now that we have that new machine at the municipal garage where we can print out the brochures.
Let me ask you something, Sean.
Right? Yeah.
Atlantis where they park in the old.
You know what, I mean,
This one, I'm not even sure it needed to be a discussion item, to be honest, but it is.
You'd have to ask the assessor.
No, it's fire department property.
Not like water.
No, they didn't buy it.
You gotta, I don't know if they closed or not.
They didn't. They didn't close.
They
No,
closed in
no,
July.
no. It's fire department property.
Yeah, I don't have an answer.
And they're leasing it to them.
That's still taxes vacant land.
Oh, Bob, you did it. Thank you.
Or
This
less
one's done.
vacant land.
Then we got the signs we'll do next.
It's not vacant land.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's not, there's the.
Is Sharon
not-
coming
you
in
can text on the
to,
improvements, so the improvements are
I
not
gave her
as
a heads up,
significant
if you
over
want
there.
her, she can
Right.
be here.
Done something.
Yeah, I do want her to be here, because I'd like her
Fencing.
to
Okay.
tell the board the challenges that the building department is being faced with when it comes to our sign ordinance and enforcement.
What are we talking about?
Well,
Sign or
this one is the
parking?
parking schedule. Out of code revision, it was brought to our attention that we needed to deal with changing our definition of floor area commercial to be consistent with what we did. If you remember, I think it was maybe a year or so ago, we changed our definition for floor area commercial
Yep.
Take out
extract
common
certain
areas.
Yeah, so
areas,
taking
right.
out, you're taking out
And-
some wash basins and.
And
yeah.
what we never picked up on was that our parking schedule still, tied into a definition which was
overall.
inconsistent with the floor area commercial definition. So now what we're proposing to do is amend the parking schedule, have a public hearing on that in order to provide that wherever the floor area commercial would be applicable, that will be substituted in instead of the old definition, which
So it's
was.
just cleanup.
It's just cleanup.
Okay,
All right.
That makes sense, because
okay, that's quick.
That was
You
easy.
know what, I
Sign
wanna
ordinance
take a
getting
look at the, on here, the industrial and manufacturing establishments, because I know that a lot of the, manufacturing companies out at EPCAL, the one space per 400 square feet of manufacturing, you have one employee per 400 square feet, or instead of two employees per 400 square feet. I really think that we need to take a closer look as to what we're going to require now that we have the subdivision in the works for EPCAL and what the parking requirements are, because it's so restricted on the area that you can develop, and you have, parking lots that are a sea of parking lots in manufacturing and industrial areas based on this code, and that the parking spaces are not being filled up, and that's actually more area that they could be using
Well, I
for
think-
manufacturing.
I go along with you, but I think that's all over the town of Rivet. You
Yeah.
take a look on 58 at the shopping centers.
I agree.
I mean, the shopping centers, they fill up maybe 1/4 of the parking lot, and the rest of it's open where it
Yep.
could be green, we have blacktop. So I think our whole parking, and again, you gotta look at Peconic Bay Medical Center. They don't have enough parking.
I know.
So, I mean, we have to look at each
We're gonna
one
be coming to you with a plan.
and
for that.
see what we can improve on as far as green is concerned.
Right.
As far as additional parking for some areas that need it.
Well, actually,
And,
yeah,
and
I think we
taking
have a
into
bigger picture.
consideration
Right.
that that parking seminar that you and I attended in
Yes.
Port Jefferson, where, our planning board right now is requiring that every stall be 10 feet wide by 20 feet long. And in a manufacturing where you're not carrying bags from a retail store to get into your car to leave,
You can make them
the
small.
recommendation was that it could be 8 feet wide
right.
Listen,
by
my
17
Grand Marquis
feet
can't
wide.
get an 8 feet
And George's
wide
truck
parking
can't fit in the
space.
ones we got now.
Well,
You gotta
so-
pack
take
it in.
two spots when I pull that
the
thing in.
You need to
problem-
go up on that
But the
bus
problem,
and
the
natural
problem
gas
we went to, with the width, the 10 feet wide and the 22-foot long, is because of your trucks.
Well,
And the big trucks they have.
Yeah, but those are,
The
those are,
double-wheel trucks, so,
They're few
yes,
and far
because
between.
they
No,
were.
you're right, it's
but-
absolutely, you can't.
But how can you put every parking stall, we
Yeah,
don't have that
standard,
many
no.
trucks.
Eight
Right.
I
feet is
mean,
too
let's
narrow.
go with cars
that's
too,
right.
I mean,
And you know what, they
We should
said
have, we should have
that,
an area saying trucks only.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And give us the
but
biggest spots.
they
Yeah,
said
that's
that
what we should have, yeah.
70% of the
Well, get
cars
something
in
green.
that study in Port Jeff, they said that 70% of the cars that are being built today will fit within that 8-foot
Right,
wide
you're right.
stall.
Yes.
And even the trucks, the SUVs. So, I mean, if our planning board could at least consider and say, okay, well, we have to provide some parking for the larger trucks, but maybe a percentage rather than making every stall 10 foot by 20
Right.
feet wide.
So what I would recommend, since we're not gonna solve this here, is Jeff Murphy, we just hired him. This is some of the things that he's probably got some expertise in, coming from another municipality and working for other corporations, doing this work for however many years. Why don't we ask Jeff to take a look at the code and come up with a proposed alternative?
Right, and we were also talking to engineers that have done particular studies on parking areas, and I was talking to John about maybe the parking district investing a couple of $1,000s to figure out some type of parking schematic for downtown.
Yeah, I think it has to be changed. I was looking at First Street the other day, and I think there's a way we could actually,
We could redo the parking
Yeah,
areas
the
and
driving's a little
really
wrong there.
That's what-
increase the number of spaces.
That's what part of the BOA grant is
we
going to
have
be doing.
Yeah, we don't even have a choice. We
Well,
have to
that,
just win.
plus we're paying the Methodist Church for, parking, and we limit the parking with no overnight parking there. That's public parking, and the church didn't want it, so we said, okay, we'll limit the, but we're renting, and we're leasing the space from them.
When does it stop? Like at 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
They don't want it after 10, is that what it is?
Yeah.
But now with the restaurants and stuff, people may be there.
Yeah, so you have to look at this whole thing and see
Not at
what
this
we're
point.
doing.
That's what the BOA grant is supposed to be looking at, so, we'll, for downtown, why don't we, Jody, why don't you bring this up at code revision and invite Jeff in to talk about it and ask him if he could, rather
Yeah.
than beat it up in code revision, ask him if he can look at it and come up
because
with
the California
solutions.
stalls, I think, are 9 feet,
Because even
and they got the boxes.
BFJ, not
Yeah, they have
BFJ,
the- yeah, we
Frank
have that.
Fish said that there were things in our code that are not consistent with other codes throughout the New York State and maybe
I
it
think
was in
we're
the
the only
country.
ones that use California, nobody else, and he brought that up.
I
Don't
was there
have-
too, at the
Don't
Culinary
have the New
Institute.
York, don't have the California striping, where you have one and striping and then a foot later you have another striping. And you're supposed to pull within the first, right, and
Well, that gives you the
we're,
door.
we're the only
That
ones
gives you
that
the door
use
open.
that California striping. No other one in New York uses the California striping.
I don't even know where we use that. Just, I've never seen it.
It was on one.
It's up at Stop and Shop, I think.
Stop and
No, I
Shop.
think it was on the Walmart plans that,
Okay.
that were approved
That's
by
a waste.
the planning department.
It's a lot of
And
extra
they
paint.
also put in
Not really.
the subcompact parking.
Pick a foot up every
For
spot.
those
Yeah, but it's
compressed
a
natural
smaller, it's a
gas.
smaller,
Right.
so you actually.
Subcompact small, it's the
Is
same
out,
thing.
because.
Listen, I wanna be able to drive my
You get
F-350.
2 cars, you save a
Parking.
foot every 2 cars.
You'll be able
Yeah.
to.
You have to just park
Not
right
in an
front
We'll
of
give
the
you-
store. It's not-
We'll give you
right in front
10%
store.
of
It's
the
not getting
stores
any
for
better.
10
You hear the
foot.
conversation here.
What's
We're gonna make them small. It's not getting any better.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right,
Okay.
why don't you invite Jeff to look
Most
at
people
this
drive
in
small
code
cars
revision,
these days.
and we'll go
Okay.
from-
you.
I think go from there. We're not gonna be able to.
And the other thing I think we have to look at as far as code revision is, we went from 50 cents to $2 for the taking out the dirt and sand, and that's hard on people that wanna build, and I think that should be reduced to $1. Go double it and another
They're getting
$2.
$5, they're giving us $2.
Because we put that in our budget every year.
Yeah, and that's consistent with what other municipalities do, but I agree with you. I think that it's, in these
I mean, we
challenging
jumped
times, it's a little
because
bit.
this guy, we were only getting, he was a lot of that, and that was PC Rich's property, that where they were hauling a lot of sand out
It's a
there.
commodity.
Huh?
It's a commodity.
Okay.
Right.
Well, let's
But I
not,
think
wait,
this
let's
is
get
things we have
back
to
to,
look
John,
at.
let's get back to the
Okay.
the
We'll
agenda.
discuss it.
Okay.
Sign ordinance, what are we doing?
Ugh.
Have Sharon come up?
Come on
Okay,
up.
so
Sharon.
the
Sharon,
sign
come on up.
ordinance,
Sharon,
every
glass
single
close.
time we sit down at code revision, we go, oh, we gotta talk about the sign ordinance. And every single time it gets pushed to the back of the pile because the sign ordinance is like this thick and nobody wants
Well,
to go through.
isn't this the
But
the
let me
sundown
just
year that
finish,
they have to change
John.
all the signs?
As
It
a,
is.
our code says October 18th of 2005, it says 7 years later. So October 18th of 2012, our sign ordinance says that all signs throughout the town have to come into compliance with the new code. And we don't have a sign inspector, we don't have anybody to enforce it. Our code
That's
is,
not really accurate. The building department and the code enforcement can enforce the signs, and they have.
And they have before.
well, that's why I
The sign
asked Sharon
inspectors
to
do
come
events
today
early,
because
five
I
years
knew
ago.
that those were your sentiments and she's feeling that a part-time person might be
what my suggestion was at code enforcement, revision committee, is that if we're going to do the sign ordinance, if we're actually gonna keep it in, then what we need to do is we need to go about it in a manner that makes sense.
Why?
Just to make it punitive to me that's not the answer. We have a limited ability at this point in time to enforce it. The sunset clause, I can't see someone who has put a capital expenditure on making a sign within the last year or two, all of a sudden having that sign.
Listen, let me just clear this up. If you have a pre-existing non-conforming use, the only place in this town that gets eliminated is our sign code. Every other pre-existing
fixing it.
non-conforming use is allowed to continue.
Correct.
Unless it expires for a year.
Right.
So just eliminate the expiration of it. It
I
makes no
I
sense.
came up
We
with
have to,
I
okay?
came up.
Can't
Well,
do
that's,
that.
that's why
we
we're
came
here,
up with.
because we've had a lot of debate on what to do, whether we strike that provision so
Strike it
there's
and
no
leave it like
sunset.
That's what I
100% of the rest,
suggested.
99% of the rest of the code.
I came up with a solution that
Same with
says
streetlight.
that
The dark sky,
instead of
same thing.
saying that all signs have to be in compliance by October 18th of 2012, that we say that if you put up a new sign, if you change ownership and you change the sign, that it has to comply with the new code. Because our code right now says that if it's destroyed by fire, this, that, the
Right.
other thing,
Well, that's the way it should
that you have to come into conformance. So this is just taking out that deadline and saying that if you change the sign, or if you change the lettering or the wording on the sign, that you have to come into compliance.
even want
Because
it
it's
to do that.
essentially a new
They
sign.
do that, in other words, this is the story,
That's
this
the
is how
question.
the sign.
It also
ordinance-
says no non-conforming sign may be reestablished where the non-conforming use has been discontinued for a period of 6 months. That's
Right.
what's there presently.
So if they discontinue, say an occupancy leaves, the sign is removed, and it's in a non-conforming frame, and somebody comes in a year later, okay, then they have to conform that sign. But going further, I agree 100%, we need to strike the drop dead late on the sign. And the other thing is, if we're going to go forward with this, then I think that what you need to do is follow the ordinance the way it was intended, which is to use the little placard, they call it, a little tag or whatever.
We don't do.
Make the sign permits renewable, okay? We don't charge that much for it. We charge for the initial $100, okay? And if we made it renewable, say 3 years, 5 years, whatever, it's not going to be,
You lost me on that one.
Me
Why?
too.
why?
Listen, if you have a non-conforming use in this town, it continues until you lose it because it expired after a period of a year. Why is a sign any different? If you have a non-conforming use with a non-conforming sign, let the people keep it, and if they discontinue it for a year, it's done. And I'll go
Well,
further.
6 months.
I
It's
agree
6
with
months
you.
under the
Well,
current statute.
But I would leave it at a year, just the way the rest of our code, because then here's
Then we
the
have
other
to
side of
change
the
that
coin.
too.
Yeah, well, here's the other side of the
That's a good
coin.
What is that
idea.
noise?
Suppose you have
That's my phone that I'm
Oh.
ignoring.
you have a non-conforming sign.
I thought it was mine.
Just because the lettering changes doesn't mean the sign changed.
Well,
The
that,
sign, I think,
No,
is
no,
the
I'm
physical.
talking about a new
structure.
occupant.
there's
So a new tenant comes in.
Yeah, so what? So you put the new, lettering in
That's
the.
that's a different problem. I understand what you're saying. If you have a sign, a non-conforming sign, let's call it a directory sign. Right. Okay, it's a non-conforming sign. A and B TVs comes out, okay, and it's one of 5 signs in there, and XYZ Spa comes in, okay. That doesn't eliminate where the directional sign is. It does not change the
Correct.
fact that it's legally non-conforming. But the sign that goes in there, that little placard, that has to have a permit, and it has to conform to whatever restrictions were placed on that directory sign.
That's why I wanted directory signs excluded.
Well, they
But
can't be
just
totally
for the sign.
excluded.
It's
They
continuing
can't-
change. That's.
So, the
And the-
sign, if the sign, and I hate to use it, but the sign in front of anybody's law office, suppose it gets destroyed. and you go and put the same exact sign in,
Under the
why,
current, under the
why would I
current
need a
code, you,
permit? I'm just putting the same sign in.
under the current code, literal reading is that you have to now conform to the
Conform
new
to the
ordinance.
That's,
not right.
that's not right.
Because for an answer, I know there was one on Route 58 whose sign came down in one of our storms. It just totally got knocked out. First Pioneer.
Yeah,
Wrong credit, I'll say that.
right.
And he got a sign inspector in there harassing him, and he was blowing, these guys were going nuts, that he had to come into whatever compliance, et cetera. Why can't he just put the same thing back? Was it an
Of
actual
course.
act? I mean, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I think if
I
we're
mean, you
talking.
talk about being business friendly here, that's.
I know.
If you're
don't
talking-
even go into the
All right,
fact that
we'll
we
go
can't
into
put our phone numbers on the sign. Ooh, gee.
And it had a beautiful sign, it was just put up a few years ago, and it went down, and now they were being
Phone
harassed.
numbers
Yeah.
are
Oh,
torture.
That's, you
That's the
can't
same
have
with
that,
directional
that's,
signs.
it's gotta
Where
go
can-
back up.
Where can you put a
But, you know,
directional
business.
sign up?
It's a matter
You
of
can
the
put it on
aesthetics
off
of the town and
premises,
trying to
but
improve
you
the
have to
aesthetics
have-
of
Where?
the town. Because we do
Beautiful.
have
Go
a
look
lot,
at it, put the same
I
color
know
sign.
they do,
I
but there are a
know
lot of people that don't.
That
Right,
the,
but
Have
they-
nice
but
signs.
they
Van
shouldn't
Arab Bread,
have to go
that
get
street,
permits.
Right.
they wanted to put a directional sign.
At least this
and they-
discussion bears out why it's been so
These guys
difficult for me to
Well,
put
it
something in
depends on-
print.
It depends
That's
on,
what I'm asking.
Ugly
Okay.
signs.
I understand.
Okay,
Mike,
can-
property owner has to be, I'm missing half of the other
yeah, I
part
know,
that I
it's
wanted
too
to
many
say.
conversations.
Okay, the reason that also that I wanted to work with the sign ordinance is that if we're going to enforce it, my feeling is that we need to enforce it professionally and have a sign inspector. And if we did it as a renewal, now wait a second, let me finish the thought, okay? If we did it as a renewal, we would have residual income on which to build for that department. Now, my question to you is, if you rent property, ABC Printing, okay, I rent, all right? Bad example, let me rephrase. John Q. Public, I rent a house, okay? My rental permit is good for 3 years. I pay X amount of dollars for the rental permit, 3 years later I pay another X amount of dollars. Do I object to that based on the fact that I'm earning income? No. Now, sign permits, doing business. A sign permit attracts customers, which increases the business, cost of doing business. Do I object to paying $100 3 years from then or 5 years from then to renew the sign, again, to advertise my business? I would
Yes.
think not.
I will tell you, when we put, and I wanted to repeal it after we did it, but there wasn't the report, the support on the
I
board.
did- I did a
When we
couple
put the
different drafts.
$25
Here's one.
fee in, I think
I
it's
did.
$25 fee to
Affidavit
register
by
for your
the sign
alarm
maker.
code.
Right.
Many,
Oh, I didn't
many
get into that yet.
businesses
That was
backlashed
one
on
thing.
$25.
'Cause
I'm
I
not
know.
putting any
I'm
more
confused
fees.
where to go. This
All right,
is
Bob,
something I did,
this
but-
is let's see, let's take this one piece at a time. I would support, and I'm gonna put this proposal out there, that if your sign is a legally non-conforming sign, it stays in, you can allow it to be used until such time as you discontinue it for a year, the way we treat any other legally
Right, that's
non-conforming
reasonable.
use. Not a sunset provision, not if one person on the directory goes out, you put another name in and all of a sudden it has to come into compliance.
Right.
If the one person in the directory comes out and they put the same font and everything in and it looks exactly the same except the lettering is different, I have to tell you, your department has interpreted this many different ways. That to me is not a change that requires a permit. So is there support to say a legally non-conforming sign is allowed to stay unless it's discontinued substantially for whatever we do with our other,
For a year.
for a year?
So the
Yeah,
way we
I
do
think
everything
that's
else.
very
Well,
reasonable.
right now, the code says 6 months, right? So we'd have to
Correct.
change the code.
Correct.
My only concern
What
is,
if they replace it? What if they replace an existing sign? You don't want them to replace it in a
Well,
conforming
what if a
location?
car knocks it
if they
down and they
can?
wanna replace
I
it?
would let them put the same
I
sign
would let
back
them
up.
put the same sign.
Then why don't we just
That's-
repeal the
that's-
entire sign?
That's act of God,
That's what
act of
happened with
God,
that.
accident, or something
Yeah.
like that.
No, we struck that from the code. We struck that from the proposed code. Any legally existing non-conforming sign, and it did say destroyed by an accident caused such as fire, flood, explosion, riot, act of God, and act of the public enemy. We struck that. So now it says any legally existing non-conforming sign being replaced, modified or changed, and we can do away with modified or changed, just being replaced, shall be replaced by a sign which conforms to the regulations of the district in which it is located.
No, I don't want that. I want you, if you have your non-conforming sign and it gets hit by a car, or as mine, somebody threw a Jim Beam
So
bottle
you'd like to
through it.
strike, you'd like to strike that whole provision, which
I
is
want to strike
subparagraph
the whole
4.
provision,
stricken.
that if
Then
I
what?
can put my own, I can take my own non-conforming sign and put another one up.
Well, what was the whole intent and the purpose of the sign ordinance
have everybody-
anyway?
to
And
have
how,
To change the aesthetics of the town, to get some of these older,
for a
This
visual,
is a very rough
something
draft.
more,
And,
Very
and
rough.
have them all conform to
So
each
what you're
other.
saying is keep
To have them all
subparagraph 2.
conform.
well, if we're not
Make it
gonna
1
enforce
year.
it, then let's just get rid of the whole damn code.
and you have some signs that are, obstruct views, that are on corners, that.
That's a different issue.
it's-
That's a different issue.
But if you say that you can replace it in the same exact location, you're not fixing
Makes
the
no sense to have
fact
a
that
code
it's
if you're not gonna
obstructing the
enforce it,
view.
that's all.
If your sign is obstructing the view, that's a highway department issue, and we have ways to deal with it under the highway law. That's a different issue. I'm talking about a sign that,
Some
is
ugly
a
sign that doesn't
non-
conform and we're gonna keep it.
I'm not trying, I don't know what you guys think when you drive around the town. I think the town looks fine.
I do too, I didn't write
Right
the
here, you
code.
go to Sunrise, it's a different story.
This code was
We're
enacted
not-
long before I was here.
I don't see a problem.
Well, there
It's
there
not
should
like-
be, there should be a differentiation,
And I would also say, I would allow sandwich signs
Yes.
on
Yeah, I
Main
agree.
Street.
I agree.
We have
They
that,
Well, we
Well,
don't
already.
presently, I don't think.
No,
No.
but
No,
let's
we
stick
don't.
with
Well,
the
you should.
non-conforming issue.
Well, we have 108.56.1, which is our whole non-conforming signs legislation, which was adopted back in '05. And it allowed for legally non-conforming signs to be continued for 6 months, except if there was an accidental loss which required it to be replaced with a new sign. And then the sunset, which is, as pointed out by Councilwoman Giglio, about to hit us on October 18th of this year.
No, I agree with you. I think that
So-
should be all knocked out.
The question is whether we allow non-conforming signs to continue,
To continue.
and what the vote is here. And then, of course, we go out to public hearing, we hear from the public.
It's no different, Bob, than a
I just don't wanna,
non-conforming
I
business.
wanna have some
agree.
sense of what I'm
I
drafting, that's all.
agree with you there.
And
I
then,
just thought,
and then I can get you something back, and
But
it's
if
probably
the
not
sign
gonna
was
be,
being-
it's probably not gonna be this meeting, it's gonna be the first meeting in September before.
Okay, let's clear, if there's consensus, if
Let me
it's,
see what what did you come up with here?
That was just my sense from our last code revision. We've gone around a little bit,
I
and
said-
there were some other changes
you
too.
struck two, all right, all you're saying is that any existing non-conforming sign being replaced or modified or changed shall be replaced with a sign which conforms to
Right,
regulations.
so for any reason.
And that's something that we
Which
don't
is
want.
basically any reason it would have to be replaced
not in
with
favor
a.
of that. Not even gonna let, I'm not gonna vote for that. Go to
so then
public.
we should say any pre-existing non-conforming sign that has been, where an establishment has not been in existence for a year, or how does it?
That's already in there.
The same way
Well,
every
that'll
other,
change from
6
6 months to a year.
to a year, and the same way every legal non-conforming use ends under. I think,
Subsection 5 comes out.
Supplementary use
Subsection
regulations.
2 gets modified to 1 year. Subsection 3 stays in. Subsection 4,
You've been looking at-
you wanna delete entirety.
Right.
Yep,
I just, and if somebody changes the name of a business on the sign,
And
I don't
five,
think
you
that's a
gotta take out.
change to the
Right.
sign.
So
I
what
think
I-
the sign is.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rewrite this, I'll circulate it around to everybody. If
Because-
everyone's okay with it, we might still be able to get it on for
Sharon, what are you
September
saying?
meeting.
If somebody changes the lettering on their sign, let's say, one business goes out, another business goes in, it's within the same frame, but it's no longer, Sharky's Ice Cream, it's,
Costa Rica ice cream.
good. Then, the bottom line is, does that constitute a new sign?
No,
No, I don't think it does.
See, under our ordinance, it does.
and I think that should be changed too. The sign is the physical wooden or plastic or metal structure. The contents of the sign, to me, doesn't constitute the sign. The
But
sign
that's-
is the structure.
But that's what the ARB rules on, is the content of the sign.
Well, they should not be ruling on the content of the sign.
Well, what they look at
It's the color.
is,
Yeah.
they look at the color, they look to make sure that the phone numbers are not on there, they look to make sure that it's not, advertising everything that's going on inside of the establishment, whether there's an ATM, whether there's a, MoneyGram, and there's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'll have the name of the company on the outside, so it'll say George's Deli, and then underneath it doesn't say ATM, MoneyGram, snacks, beer.
It's called a menu.
Right, menu on the
I
sign
think we-
itself, that's what they look at.
If the ARB is going to approve the sign, we should be looking at the content, because if we don't have some control over the content, then we're going to have situations where you're gonna have a cacophony of different
Watch your language.
colors,
You
mixture.
have to be very
Mixture of.
careful constitutionally by regulating the content. You have to have, and I don't remember the standard for regulating content of the sign. My point is, if Bob's Hair Studio goes out of business and John's Computer Graphics Company comes in and you take out Bob's Hair Studio and put in John's Computer
slide it in there.
Graphics, slide it in there, that's not changing the sign. A menu, I understand. I don't wanna go down the road and even worry about changing what the menu sign is or something like that. I just wanna know that if I change Bob's to John's, it's not a change to the sign.
I think that the whole sign ordinance has to be looked at.
Well,
It does,
yeah,
but
it
this
does.
is something that
It
we
does.
had to do because
Right,
It's-
right.
we don't wanna
It's
be in
coming.
violation of our own
Let's knock
code.
that one piece
Yeah.
out.
We don't enforce it
Let's
anyway,
whack
obviously
that
we
one
don't care
piece out.
to.
That's
and
all I can see right now. until we have
Non-conforming
more
uses
discussion.
So if
after
he
5
does-
years come back up, it doesn't matter.
If
It just
Bob
doesn't-
does what we request him to do, that portion will be fixed.
Alright, let's
Okay.
whack that up,
Just
get it
take the
back
date
to
out
us.
and then we'll go from there. The rest I think needs discussion.
Okay.
I
Alright,
think you've got to leave,
And-
right? Soon, or 12?
alright, bicycle lockers,
So I'm actually doing resolutions first because they're coming at 11:30.
alright, give me, pass them out. Give me
So-
one
We only
second.
had one resolution.
No, that's at 11:45.
Yeah.
You're gonna do a special board.
Yeah, this is for the
Just as
board
resolution review for the board meeting next
Okay.
week, yep.
meeting. Okay.
This thing is unbelievable.
Wow.
This
but I'm
stupid
reading
I
it.
told
thing.
you about the thing,
You-
the Wall Street Journal, I didn't say the Wall Street Journal, did a long story all across America about
I
something.
got it.
All municipalities are relaxing,
But it-
some of them are really
it does
I
involve
know.
business
myself.
friendly, and I'm sitting there going,
know.
Scary.
I know.
I did it the easy way, Jim. I don't use a town phone, I just have my own.
I'm gonna get rid of it, but unfortunately, it's my only way. Now, who is this Paul Spear and Lanny Wexler and Kim?
They are coming in for the bike
At
lockers.
11:30 though.
Yes.
Where are the bike lockers?
Well, we're hoping that we can get some at the train station and that we can get some at EPCAL so that people can go and leave their bikes there and drive, or take the train to the train station and then get their bike out of the bike locker and go ride around Riverhead or go
Bike
ride.
locker.
Yeah,
The
you
bike
need,
locker.
Yeah, it's
wait,
where
wait,
you
you
can
need
store your bike.
one locker for every bike?
So,
It's
This
you
way
ha-
you
it has
Be
a
pretty
key.
big.
Oh,
you,
but
well,
you wanna
you
go up to the
can
train
put your
station,
bike
there's
there.
about 100 bikes up there.
Okay, you drive your car
No, I
up,
know. So they'll all
but
be
get
put
on
in
your
lockers.
bike, ride where you
We'll have
want
100
to, come
lockers
back,
up there?
No, not that many.
put your bike back,
Not
hop
that
in the
many.
car, and
we
This
rent
is
these?
more for the people that are taking the
I don't
train
know.
to Riverhead from the city. They're taking the train to Riverhead from the city. Their bike is locked up in a locker. So when they get off the train, they can unlock their locker, take their bike out, and go ride around Riverhead.
How big is this locker?
It's probably like this. It's as tall as a bicycle and very thin. So you just
And
slide
long.
the bike in and long.
And they rent it?
Yep.
how do they rent it?
They rent it through this company. This.
I mean, what's the physical, is it like the, parking lots where you have a ticket, or?
No, because you have the key with you, so that if you live in the city and you
We'd
have
have
the
to have,
key.
really have a need for
At
that.
the train station, you have 100 bikes.
There really is becoming a greater need for this. I mean, when we had the triathlon downtown,
Oh, I understand that, I don't know, so I would be able to rent a locker in Riverhead at some place and keep my bike there, is what you're telling me.
yep. And the same thing with EPCAL, with the bike trail. So
Well,
if you
this is-
wanted to keep your bike in a locker at EPCAL and then come drive from Port Jefferson to EPCAL, you could get your bike out of the locker and you can go from EPCAL all the way to Iron Pier Beach and then from Iron Pier Beach back or
this is
Is there
wherever.
really a need for?
But this is a business. So why don't, they, if they want a business, negotiate with some places to put lockers there
Yep.
and do it. Why is
What
it
kind of
come
sign are they
before
gonna have?
us?
Well, because they want to do it on municipal property. They want to do it at the ball fields at EPCAL. They want to do it at the,
Are they gonna have a conforming
at the
sign?
train station. You know what, I wanted to ask about that too, because we were gonna send out an RFP for the train station. I wonder where we are with that.
We're
Well,
not
the
sending an
RFP, the
RFP.
railroad is doing that.
Railroad
Oh,
did
they
it.
are, okay, good.
They are.
Good.
They
No,
were
they
like,
haven't given me a
I was
copy.
supposed to get a copy of the RFP once they send it out.
Yeah, they were supposed to give it to me, maybe in my inbox.
That'll
No,
really
they
help
didn't
clean
get it
that
yet.
area
I
up.
didn't
Let's
get
go
it
through
yet.
resolutions.
Am I done?
You're done.
I'm
Thank
done.
you.
We don't,
Okay.
thank
Okay,
you.
thank
The
you.
answer is, we
I'm
don't
not
know.
done.
What do you have?
No, she's working.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
Good.
I am.
Thank you, Sharon.
So the answer is, yes and no. Yes, we'll look at it and.
Okay.
that's you. Okay, resolution,
I told
Suffolk
her that was
County
gonna go over like a lead balloon.
authorizes
Remove.
supervisor to execute a contract to an easement for Suffolk County for downtown revitalization, round 10 funds.
That's the
Downtown
skating
ice rink.
Yep. That's what ice skating rink.
Denied.
Yay.
I
The
like that.
application then, yep.
But this, okay, so this is,
It's an easement we give them.
okay,
Which runs with the rink.
and then
Where
we
we put
can't charge Suffolk County residents that wanna come and use the rink,
Okay.
right?
Number two,
That's all we say.
How are you with
why
that,
are we
George?
doing this? Is it
Ratifies
time?
the
That's gonna
promotion
kickstart the
of a
project, otherwise, no, I don't like it at all.
Yeah, it's
It's
every,
ti- That's what I said, is it time?
Oh, the county did this,
It's time.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's only big application.
okay.
really don't have a choice.
February, it says February 10th, 2002.
Yeah, that's when it was 2012, no?
Yeah, it's not written right.
Okay, yep, well,
yeah, it's in a contract after 5 years you go.
Ratifies the promotion of a detective. Have we been paying her as a detective since then?
Oh my gosh, she's been accepted for 10 years.
No, this is a grade one, this is the highest
right,
grade.
that's
She's
2002,
moving up in
she's been
grade.
at that position.
They start at 3, they go to 2, and then they go to 1. It's the highest
Oh,
paid
okay.
detective.
But have we been paying her as the highest grade since? So we owe her retroactive too. Surprised she didn't pick up on that. Tuna.
With all her money, she.
Accepts the resignation, another one, huh? Part-time police officer.
They're all getting jobs, full-time jobs.
Well, they don't live in Rivet anyway.
Oh, that's right. 4, appoints a part-time kennel attendant.
And what's this for? Jimmy?
We had a vacancy. Lori left. It's a part-time, it's a summer kennel attendant. Weekend.
I don't know him.
I don't know either.
5, appoints a member to the zoning board of appeals. I'm hoping that I can get
Well,
support
did
for
you-
Lisa Worthington for
Can
the
we go
ZBA.
back to the, yes, you
Go
do
ahead.
have my support. But can we go back to appoints a part-time kennel attendant? Because I think that the labor, like John and George, should be interviewing these people along with Jimmy as liaison to the animal
I-
shelter to
I
find
asked
out
not
who the
to
best
sit in on
person
this.
is for
Yeah,
this.
Jody, what we,
contacted Jody before the interviews happened, Meg told me that. And she said that George and John weren't available the day that they were doing the
Well, I was never asked about this.
what we've said to Meg.
First
what-
time I'm.
Well, wait a minute, what you guys said to Meg, and I was there, if full-time jobs, things like that, you wanna
Right.
be involved
Yeah,
in the
right.
interview. A lot of the
Part-time.
part-time, the
We're
seasonal
leaving
stuff,
up
they don't
discussion.
wanna be involved in the
Yeah.
interview, cause it's not,
I don't know this.
I know,
doesn't rise to
but
that.
this concerns me because
that's what
this-
they said.
No, that Jimmy was not even in on it as
I
liaison.
knew they were
and that-
holding, I knew they were holding. They asked me if I wanted to be a part of the part-time and I told them I did not.
And the
Okay.
chief was
So?
there, the department
Okay.
head was there.
Yeah, but-
I was there.
Because I've been
If
after
the
5 years, I've been wanting to be on
staff
personnel
said- if
committee.
the
and they-
liaisons
Well, the only
saying
thing,
no, and
the only thing I'm
It's
concerned
like
is,
all the
is
rec
this a
part-timers, we
Riverhead
don't-
resident?
I'm not
No,
concerned
I know,
about
but
that.
don't you
as long
think
as they
this
can
is
do the job.
important? Because
Huh?
this is gonna be the face of the animal shelter on the weekends when people are coming to
Because
adopt.
if
$9
three
an
people
hour
apply and-
part-time kennel
Right.
attendant.
Don't you think it's
and the
important?
resident
Not a
qualifies.
$9 an
Well,
hour
well,
part-time
right.
kennel attendant.
Maureen-
That's
I'd
what
be
we
Jim's
do
call on this,
with
because it's-
recreation.
I know, that's why
Maureen.
I'm asking,
Right,
Jim.
that's-
What's that?
Don't you think that this is important? Because this is going to be the face of the animal shelter
Actually, the
on
face of the animal
weekends?
shelter on weekends would be the ACO, and that's Snyder. This is just the kennel attendant. This is Lori's job that she
But
does.
when the ACO's out, the kennel attendant is not there greeting people?
They're hiring
Yeah.
2 of them, they're just waiting for the background check to come back for the second one.
I don't,
We have 2 resignations.
Who's the other one?
I have no problem with this person.
Who?
We don't
I'll
even
talk to you
know this
later.
I
person.
got no problem.
I have no problem. It's,
No.
the person was interviewed. The town board doesn't get involved. This
It's
is
a
no different
part-time.
than all the seasonal help. If the town
Right.
board were
Yeah.
involved with all the seasonal help,
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
we wouldn't do anything
I know
but
the Phillips,
interview people.
I know the
Yeah, but
Phillips.
we don't have problems with people complaining about the seasonal help as we do with people complaining about the animal shelter.
We
Nobody
have not
nobody
had
complained about
problems
Lori,
complaints from the animal shelter in a long time. Knock on wood.
Right,
I'm
no
very
one-
happy.
yeah, no one's called me.
Yeah, very happy.
So you don't get the emails.
No, I
Very happy.
don't.
I do.
Those emails
I
are
do too.
not,
I do.
those emails will come
Check with
no
I
matter
thought
what
we were gonna
happens.
appoint her for fulfillment of the term.
Who?
Right here.
Yeah, that Lisa Worthington appointment, it's not a 5-year term.
Correct,
It's,
I think that, when Kim prepared it, she just put something in there to let you guys discuss it, so you just let me know. how
Yeah,
you
'cause
wanna
to
change
keep it in order, it has to be fulfillment of his term.
right, so it's a balance of
And
the
then you
term.
were supposed to scatter them, I believe, is that what you guys
No,
wanted to do?
Charlie
Just a normal
retired,
routine.
and whatever the balance of his term
Right.
is when she gets appointed.
I
Okay.
agree with this, and with the supervisor's description of her, that we should have a woman on the board, that we should have somebody
Yes,
that pays
that was my
attention to
point.
detail, that we
Yes.
should have somebody that's,
Yes.
analytical,
Yeah,
a
we
woman
threw a
on
woman
the
off the
board.
board and then
Yes,
that was
came back to your
George's
sentence.
point.
Put it
I
back.
agree, well, no, Sean, you said it
16.
too, you said it
Okay.
too,
6.
so I agree.
Appoints a call-in seasonal beach attendant to the recreation
Oh, I don't know
department.
this guy.
Joseph.
Did you interview this guy?
I don't, as a matter of fact, I don't remember hearing you
Zalco?
say that.
No.
In a Zalco. 7, adopts a local law to amend chapter 101 entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Riverhead Town Code. And which one was this, John?
This has to be East Air,
Oh, this is St. John Place.
St. John's
North.
Place, making a two-way street again. Now, if we make this a two-way street, we brought up this morning, that we have to put a stop sign at the intersection of Northfield Turnpike and, St. John's Place.
You think?
So stop sign there?
There's no stop
Oh,
sign.
yeah, I guess there
because-
is no stop sign.
Because it was this way. So we'll have to go to public hearing on that, okay?
All right.
So,
I'm okay. Yeah, there was a couple of people that complained about this.
Yeah, I'm
but
not sure I'm in favor of this. but I'll look.
well, that's, one person, she says, the only entrance to the firehouse is off St. John's Place,
That's not
and
true.
exit. Where is it?
There's an entrance right on Northfield
It
Turnpike.
says no through traffic in the,
I'm talking about off Northfield. You come, before you get to St. John's, there's a turn into
yeah,
parking
but
lot.
there's no exit. There's no exit on Northfield Turnpike other than St. John's and Roanoke Avenue.
You can't pull out of the parking, out of the,
It says no through traffic.
Yeah, but we could tell the fire department to change that. Here's the question, it's the church
I
that's
pull out of
really
there all
gonna
the
be
time when I
impacted.
leave
What?
there. You can pull out of Northfield Turnpike from the fire department.
You can, but there's a sign there that says no through traffic. The fire department don't want people leaving the park and going through, there. Have you ever seen that sign? If you
I never see no through traffic. I can see somebody
okay.
going through there to go back to Roanoke. I can see it over on the east corner of the north corner of the building, that way.
That's
But
on the
it's-
north corner of that building, there's a sign there that says
but
no
I'm
through
talking about on the
traffic.
south
Before we
side,
adopt-
along Northfield Turnpike,
John,
there's an entrance to the parking lot and an exit.
No,
to the
there
parking
isn't.
Before we
Oh,
adopt
there
this,
is, you're right, there is one exit, there is.
before we adopt this, I think we
Okay.
should talk to Father Dunkerley over there, because this is really gonna impact the church more than the fire department, and this could
Okay.
really mess up the flow of the church.
Okay.
Well, if I'm gonna get stuck behind a railroad crossing, guess what? I'm shooting down
Exactly,
Fifth Street, down St. John's Place to Northville and banging a left.
exactly.
That's what I'm gonna do.
And that's what, I don't know if they want that.
I can't imagine.
So I think we need to,
Okay. Okay.
John, do you wanna meet with Father
Yeah, okay.
Dunkerley, Father Dunkerley,
Yeah.
Dunkerley,
Okay, the church.
the church,
St.
yeah.
John.
See
And
what
is
it-
this,
he's
the way
relative-
it reads is East Avenue southbound, so at Northville Turnpike, so that's coming from the church out to Northville Turnpike, you're saying they can make it right only? Is that, am I reading
No,
this
no,
right?
no, wait a minute, this is, if that's what this says, it's wrong.
Well, that's what it does say,
Because this is
that's
for
why I
one-way
wanted to.
streets.
Right, that's why I wanted to clarify, cause it's one way headed north, right?
Yes, it's one
So
way
then
heading
this is
north.
wrong. It should be East Avenue, a right turn off of Northville onto East Avenue.
No, we're just
No,
taking
no,
it
we're
out.
taking it out.
So
What-
that
what
means
one
it's
do you have?
just
Do you have the same as us?
No, mine's not stricken, it
Oh, I
says.
don't know, you have the wrong,
You have the wrong one attached there.
You have the next one.
You have the next one, yeah.
that's turns.
You have 8. 8 is the turn.
Okay, so
Alright. pull this one
Okay.
until you talk
I
to
got that, yep.
Reverend Dunkerley.
The turn I agree with.
Okay, 8,
go ahead.
adopts a local law to amend chapter 101 entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Riverhead Town Code. Turns, which turn was this?
This is East Avenue
Avenue,
to,
so
no
this
left
sounds like a
turn
good idea.
onto Northville
Yeah,
Turnpike.
that's
This
a
was
bad,
that
I
point.
went there and looked at it yesterday, as a matter of fact, with the hedge, and it's a bit of a problem.
So it's southbound? Okay.
Southbound. Make a left turn.
Shut up.
What's that?
9,
Oh, you got there.
It's a piece of junk. Is what it is.
authorizes the town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider local law to amend chapter 108 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled zoning. What is this to do with signs?
See, this is wrong too, because permitted by this chapter shall, if you look at 7,
I don't even know what this is. What?
this is something that Bob came up with that we didn't even really
You can't have wall
discuss
signs,
it
window
at code
signs,
revision.
roof signs.
See, in TRC, RFC, DC2, DC4, and DC5, I didn't,
Pull this.
we needed
And
to
a
fix
tourism
it.
campus.
All right, pull this one, Tara.
Because it
And-
says you can't have wall signs, window signs, internally illuminated, roof
Some
signs,
of
you can't
people
have any
get those little-
signs. On
Yeah,
number
nine's gotta
7.
go. Nine's gotta be tabled.
Yeah, we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay, when it goes back on, we'll put it back on. 10, accepts 100% security of Head River LLC, Walmart project.
We're gonna get the information, supposedly by tomorrow, Linda Marlowe's supposed to get it over to us.
Okay, all right, if she gets it,
Yep.
I think we're good, right? We want to see that project going. 11, accepts donation of 100 trees from Barbara and Jim Cromarty in the Riverhead Raceway for planting throughout the town.
Yep.
I want to hold off on planting these yet. We're coming up, it's not ready to talk about, but we have some solutions for the hospital for parking, and this may be something we may need. So we can do the resolution, but let's not do anything with them yet.
I think the hospital met with somebody,
Yeah, we're working. I don't want to discuss it yet.
about parking.
Too early.
So we're pulling this one?
Cool. No, we can adopt this. I just don't want to do anything with the,
We won't stop planting.
I don't want to start planting them anywhere.
Certain areas may be,
So did they buy the trees and they're holding them, or they're,
I don't think they bought them
No,
yet.
this
It's a
is-
local
yeah,
nursery.
They're gonna tell us where we can pick them up from what nursery, they're just paying for them. We have to give them the invoice once we get the trees. I think it's in Vertiver Nurseries.
Yeah, somebody local.
okay.
12, promotes wastewater treat plant operators in the sewer district. What is
these are the
this?
guys that are doing the job now.
Oh, did we
Yeah.
coordinate those,
And the next resolution is the
authorize the supervisor to execute a stipulation of settlement with Civil Service Employees Association, Inc., Local 1000, AFSME, AFL-CIO, Riverhead Unit of the Suffolk Local Number 85 CSEA. And this is salary, there's some promotions because people are working out of
Yep.
title, as I
Yep.
recall, and
And this is because he's at the, end
top
of the
step.
Yeah,
scale.
he's a top step.
okay.
Is that the top of the ladder?
Yep.
Well, that's it then.
14,
Go with
approves Chapter
That
90
is it. Then
application
he only gets his step increases.
of the Church of the Harvest, Rock the River Car Show.
Yep.
I thought we approved this, but I guess we just discussed
Oh,
it.
they changed the date.
Oh, to change the date, okay.
Yeah,
So
they
they're still having the car show.
rained
on
that date, and
I
so
mean,
they have to.
Hey, we
Okay.
got the Corvairs coming in, nice.
Saturday. Jill, Tara, can you make sure that's in my
Sure.
calendar? I don't know if I can go, but I'm gonna try. 15, approves the Chapter 90 application of the Long Island Corvair Association.
Rock with that.
Where are they doing the Long Island Corvair
Right
Association?
behind Sweezy's. There's only about maybe 15 cars, 20 cars. A small group. It's, what's his name, group?
Yeah, he's the president. Yeah, I can't think of it right now. He's on
He came in to help them get this,
the committee, yeah.
Victor Clausen.
Clausen, that's his deal. He's the president of the
Yeah, he's got a
Long
nice-
Island Association.
There's probably only 15 on Long Island.
Probably.
I've got one I gotta get rid of.
You have a Corvair?
Oh, my cousin, yeah, it's sitting for it down from upstate.
It's
Did
a-
you really?
Almost
He uses
a
it as a planter.
63 Spy.
It's a planter now. It has a
Are you
planter.
gonna
It's a
breed-
convertible, what's it worth?
Are you gonna breathe down?
He's
It's down now.
What's that?
Approves a Chapter 90
Running really
application
quick.
of Garden of Eve LLC,
4,000.
Long Island Garlic Festival. Eve Kaplan's place,
Yummy.
September 29th, September 30th, 10 to 6, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., okay?
Well, we have more antique car shows in this town.
17, A, 17
another one.
approves the Chapter 90 application of George M. Bartnick, and they're all over the place. I keep
Yeah.
hearing them on the radio.
It's
People
like a
have
big
caught
one.
on to what Riverhead has long known.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
becoming quite a,
Bartnick,
for years.
for Halleckville, between 9 and 4. I actually looked at a classic car, Bruce, I think it's Bruce Young, he had the car that I really love, a 1964 Galaxy 500 with a 4-speed, kind of rough shape, but my wife's reminded me that we haven't paid college tuition in full
Oh.
yet, so, thank you, honey. Let's see,
This is the
good.
parking, this is the floor area.
We talked about that this morning, yeah?
Yeah.
Chapter, Resolution 18 authorizes the town clerk to publish and post a notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 108 of the town code. This is the parking schedule we just
Yeah,
discussed.
we just discussed that.
19 approves Chapter 90 application of Railroad Museum Toy Train Play Days, October 6th and 7th. That's good that it's corresponding at least one day with Country Fair. A lot of people in town that day, the 7th.
Yeah, it'd be a big day.
20 authorizes the town by and through the town of Riverhead Senior Center to enter into an agreement with Ace in the Hole Productions for the entertainment and performance at the
I think
senior
this is
center.
the guy who has the band down there. He plays a one-man band.
Okay.
Well, this says.
No, this
To
is a
be held
special.
on October
Something
29th
different.
in an amount not to exceed $2,200.
This is
So
a
this is
special-
a one night.
Oh,
okay, I was gonna see him, I looked through and I didn't find it, thank you.
Actually,
I don't have a secretary, so it's
Okay,
just a
no,
draft,
thank you, I know.
so
All
I'll
right.
put it in final.
Yep,
supervisor had asked, because we had cut the budget down, to have the seniors have one big bash, that they would all, something that they'd all like to attend or would like to do.
Like, this is their Halloween bash.
This is, well, no, not necessarily. This is, actually, it's going to be the 10th year anniversary of opening the building, as well as, they're
Okay.
gonna incorporate it's a play and a dinner type thing that they would be able to go out to, but Sean wanted to bring it to them so that they would be able, everybody could be able to
Right.
come.
Okay.
So that's what this is.
Okay.
This is like their annual thing.
We have to go.
So it's gonna be $2,200 every year for them to have this?
No, it's a
Oh,
one-time
just
event.
this year, okay,
Good?
yeah.
21, authorize town clerk to publish and post a notice to bidders for calcium
No.
hypochlorite tablets, for the water district.
Why we just put it in the news review?
Well, we put it in the news review, but I think we give it all to,
It's the only
Riverhead
official
Local
paper in
too.
Riverhead.
but, remind me at the staff meeting, I wanna talk to Gary to see whether he can find a way to buy these things through the Suffolk County Water Authority,
Okay.
through an intermunicipal agreement. It has to be cheaper to buy them through the Suffolk County Water Authority.
especially since they love us down there.
Yeah. That was some,
Yeah, right?
yes, meeting. 22, authorization to publish an advertisement for food products for the town of Riverhead. 23, budget, sewer district budget adjustment. From electricity to plant improvements. Do we know what this, oh, here we go.
They're gonna turn out the lights at the end of the year if they don't have the $7,500 to pay the bill, because it's coming out of the budget.
Touch screen display. We have, Tara, we've not, the touch screen display, did this go through Scott Harrington and
I'm sorry,
Lori?
what do you want?
Sewer district wants to buy a touch screen display. And I know we're doing trying to work on an entirely new software package for the town.
I don't know that, Sean, I will find out.
You can leave it in, but I wanna hold off on it till we get some clarification from
Okay.
Mike and our computer. I don't think it's a bad thing, but
Well, actually Monday, because
I'm not gonna be around for the next discussion, because I gotta go change.
I mean, you can bring it up. I have my sister-in-law's funeral.
Well, this is-
24 accepts the retirement of the Executive Director of the Youth Bureau. Donna Lakowski is retiring. She did a wonderful job. Sorry to see her leave. That'll be effective August 31st.
Good job.
Fun begin.
Yep. 25, CDBG Consortium 2010 budget adjustment.
2010.
We're taking money from those accounts and moving them to that street lighting report.
Yeah, is this the Main Street, the block grant? Okay, that's it.
Well, it's not the Main Street block grant, but it is the block grant.
It's approved from the Senior Center Improvement.
This was the street lights that we put in.
Yes, the street lights, the replacement, the ones that we just ordered. Yes. Yeah.
And this was money originally for the senior that we didn't need to use, the Senior Center.
We were having trouble getting to the project or getting the design money. We couldn't, and we have a spending deadline with CDBG money, so we're moving it into projects that we can move faster.
She's just moving the money around.
What
So
was
did you get your answer, Mr. Supervisor, as to when you're meeting with the DOT to discuss the sidewalks? Is that
No.
why this resolution is in the packet?
No, this has nothing to do with that.
Do you know what Senior Center Improvement was that we nixed?
No, but,
Like a weathered entryway.
Yeah, they
So
were
we
supposed to
didn't
have that.
design, and we didn't have
I'm
the
with
design
you, right.
money, and
so, but the,
until what we should really do is design it first and then put it as a CDBG project, because now we can't sit money in CDBG, otherwise we lose it.
All right,
So we're trying to find projects we know we're gonna do in the next year.
but this is.
It's a shame we couldn't do that.
But
when we had
this
a chance
is
to do
the
it.
89,000 for the bid to change the heads on the 66 streetlights on Main Street, right?
Yeah, all the modifications were done with the CDBG program last November.
No, I understand that, but this
She wants to make
resolution
sure this is going to
was-
those LED 62, 66
It's for the award that you
replacement.
just awarded. The
Right.
accounting hadn't set up the budget line for the PO, so it's just like a administrative, move.
I know,
Right, so
I know,
it's-
but the supervisor had concerns about the streetlights being changed when DOT was proposing
We
new
have a
sidewalks.
meeting on the 28th. I'm not gonna sign off on,
Well, these are just the heads in any
Yeah,
event,
these lights can
so
go
the heads
away.
can come off and on.
So we wanted to
I'm
get.
not signing off on the PO, neither is my staff for these $89,000 worth of lights until we have our meeting on the 28th with the DOT. to
But I
make
will
sure
say
we're
the
not-
town engineer made very clear with us that that could happen, but
I just wanna make
just
sure
like
we
what Ken
get.
said, you want to
These
talk.
I
can
want
be placed on
asphalt,
any pole
concrete,
that they
concrete.
have,
Okay.
this can be placed on, he
Right.
said.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that we're not duplicating the DOT's efforts.
So we can move forward with this, you just don't have to sign
I
it.
just won't sign until the
Right,
28th.
we can vote, we can vote on it, you
We
can
can
sign
set
it.
up the line.
Well,
It
how
just
often
gives
does
you
that
more-
happen, where we approve something and you don't agree with us
Take
and
over.
you don't sign
We've done
off
our
on the
homework.
contract?
Believe me, if it happened often, the department heads would be in your office saying he won't
But-
sign this.
Okay.
This is kind of time sensitive, because this will
I
save the
know,
taxpayers
because there's
a
a
lot
deadline
of
on the
money.
bid,
Well,
so.
if
Okay.
I
for
come
some.
back to you and say that the DOT is hard pressed to, if the DOT comes back and says they're
Yeah,
doing
we're
the
gonna discuss
street
this
lights and that's
tomorrow
the way
at
it
all
is, then I'm gonna come back to the board, cause we'd look pretty stupid if
Right.
we committed
No, no.
$89,000 to
All
streetlights
this
with
is
the
doing is
DOT.
transferring the money, we're not spending it, all we're doing is transferring it so
creating a
you can
budget
spend
line.
it.
And when will the DOT actually start this project, do you think, and complete it? Just guess, just guess.
They're trying,
2
supposed to
years?
be design, no, they're supposed to design it in 12, which is, it's not a big design, and do it in 13.
But by July of 2013, it's supposed to be done.
Yeah,
Finished.
I'll believe that when I see it,
Yeah,
but
right,
maybe, you know,
exactly.
maybe. I just wanna make sure that
The
we're not.
system pays itself off in 2 years, that's my point. DOT didn't get there for 3 years, we lost money. Even if they did throw them all out.
You'll know by,
George,
supervisor will know by.
All
But
I'm saying is, I'm not gonna sign a contract, even though we approved it, and I told you the guys when we voted on it,
Right.
until such time as we have the DOT meeting, and I can come back to you and say the DOT is not gonna be duplicating our efforts.
Well, my technical support had come from a town engineer, and that's convinced me,
And-
but if you wanna take it a step
Yeah.
further, I'm fine, but I'm just saying, that's where,
But-
we can do no more than
I
our
agree with
engineer
the
can supply
engineer
us.
too, yes.
The numbers
but-
work, it's a great project.
But if
Yeah.
these heads that we're buying for from the lowest bidder don't go on the 66 lights on Main Street. They can go
In the parking lot.
downtown in the
They can go in
parking
the
lots.
parking
They
lot.
can
They
go
go anywhere.
anywhere else
But
throughout town.
don't you wanna have that ability to make that decision, or should I unilaterally make that
No,
decision
no,
for
you can, no.
No, you don't wanna go in the
Well,
parking lot
all we're
because we'll never
doing
get a
is
grant
setting
against
a
Main Street.
line up
You only
so
do
we
this
can
with us.
purchase them
Correct,
and
that's
not delay more.
Right, so we're
That's
done with
all.
our part.
That's it, we're done
DOT
our
will do
part.
that part.
And I'm
Okay.
gonna come back to you and tell you we're going forward with the lights.
Right, that's it,
because-
yes.
And if we're not going forward with the lights, I'll say I'm putting a resolution to rescind that authorization, and you can rescind the
That's right,
authorization or
that's
not.
good, right, there you go.
Time sensitive.
27, 2012 law enforcement facility improvement budget adjustment. Oh, forfeiture funds. What is this electric keyless entry? Into the police department?
Yeah, probably the rear door, probably, right? I bet you.
I don't know.
I bet it's for the back door.
I'll have to find out, Sean. I don't
Yeah, we need to know whether we have this money already.
Yeah, let me find out.
You can leave it in the package, but if we don't have the money,
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
because that's general fund, that's,
General,
Usually the forfeiture funds is we do it and they pay it.
yeah, let me find out.
okay,
Okay.
as long as that's the case.
Yeah, that's, I'm sure that's what it is, the rear door.
28, authorizes town clerk to publish and post notice for public hearing regarding the local law to amend chapter 26 entitled Officers, Employees of the Riverhead Town Code. And this is just, putting the building and planning administrator Jeff Murphy as our, our agent,
Love it.
has our, authority to make and render determinations regarding the compliance with our zoning code.
Love it.
Okay. 29, authorizes the town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider a local law to amend chapter 108 of the Riverhead
No,
Town
they're
Code
gonna redo this.
entitled zoning,
They're gonna redo
sign
this.
permits. This is out.
Well, they're gonna give us a new one by Tuesday, maybe.
Yep. They're
Well,
gonna change it.
Take this out unless it's something, I don't know
Well-
whether I wanna do it by,
At least number 5 has to be stricken because we have to publish and post and we have to do something by October 18th and we're cutting it down to the wire, so.
So we can make just take 5 out and we'll push it through. You agree? Just take 5,
let's
no?
get, I wanna
Because
get,
that's the complying day, we gotta get that out October 18th.
We'll send it around again before
Doesn't matter.
Tuesday.
People aren't gonna rip their signs off on October 19th, trust me.
No, I know,
Strike
but why
that
be in
one.
violation of our
Just
own
strike
code
that
if we
one.
don't have to
We
be?
violate our code every day.
I know, but I don't like it. Not on my watch.
Okay, let's move on.
We have 30.
I don't know whether that has support, I'm not
Okay.
supporting it, so.
All right, so forget about it. Thank you.
30, resolution to authorize the town, Riverhead to donate money to the Riverhead High School Key Club for recycling education.
That's
Good.
that $1,000.
I got one more, real quick. Anne Marie
One
just
more
finished
real
this.
quick, yeah.
And this is a resolution requesting the naming of the park in South Jamesport as the Myamog Point Park.
I think it's already named that, isn't it?
No, not officially. I talked with Richard Wines, he was good with it. It's
that
always
where it
been known
comes
as Myamog Park, and it means gathering place of fishermen. It was an Indian term.
It's an
It means-
Indian term.
And it means gathering place
Yeah.
of fishermen, and that's what it
I
used to
think
go.
we
Yeah,
did-
Georgette Case gave us all the
Yeah,
history.
but I
there.
talked to Richard, and then he contacted her, and they all went along with it. So
Yeah, I
I
think
think
it's a
it's,
good idea.
it's known as that in Jamesport.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay,
I'm okay with it.
I thought it was already called that.
It's been called
I
that
don't know where
forever.
the name came from, but now I
It's
know.
been there since long before.
All right,
Okay.
you know what, we have a special town board meeting, if you'll bear with us, why don't we get the clerk, because we'll do that, we'll pull that right off on time.
yep.
What is this here? Second. Oh, that's my notes. Do we have that?
What?
For the audits for the, parks projects to close them out, so we have it in the budget, it was just to authorize hiring the firm that has done the other audits. Is it okay to?
Well,
I just gave it to Sarah, I was gonna give it to you when I came up.
Is this for Tuesday? This is all
If,
for
if we
Tuesday?
can, because then we'll try to close everything out by the end of the year, it takes them a few weeks to get, we got the lowest price.
where's Cullen and Danowski, and is Bill Rothar okay with this from Cullen and
They
Danowski?
were the ones that did
Okay.
the last closeout.
They did.
So they came in
No,
about
no,
$5,000.
she's sticking
No,
something else.
she's stuck with
Okay,
it.
but Tara, I just make sure Rothar sees this, I wanna make sure he's okay with that firm. Cullen and Danowski, I don't remember them. Yeah. I don't have a problem, I just wanna make sure Bill's okay, he's the professional in all this. Okay,
Yeah, I'm just having to circulate that around for you.
I'm gonna call the,
Yours?
oh, you have it at 12, it should be at 11:45 we had it scheduled for. Can I just change that and we'll initial it?
Reclamate, total damage.
Just initial in the corner there, cause I made it 11:45.
Initial. Yeah, no, we gotta.
Just gotta go this way still.
What are you doing here?
Anne Marie, the only thing that I don't see in here is that it's subject to LIPA taking them into the grid, because we don't want the, I mean, I don't see that in here, where, what happens if LIPA rejects their offer to do it, then how, long do we have to,
Because that's contained in the bid specifications.
okay, so if
Throughout
LIPA,
this, the reference is to the bid specifications, and it specifically provides that one of the first acts that's gonna take place is that the
Subject,
supervisor is
right.
gonna execute those documents which are necessary for them to make application to LIPA.
Give
Okay.
that
Like
to,
with
do we have
others.
that by 12:30, or we don't have that yet? Do we have that for me to sign yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
what happens if LIPA decides that they're not gonna take this company, or for whatever reason, they're not going to
Can't use the landfill.
approve this project, then do we have to go out for another RFP 6 months from now? How long is their proposal good for? Are we tied into them for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10
No.
years?
If they're denied, if their application is denied,
It doesn't say that in here, though.
That's part of the contract.
It,
it's
Yeah.
part of the, it was part of the original bid specifications,
that says that they have to
Yeah.
get approved by LIPA?
correct?
They have to have a power purchase
It's
agreement with
just
LIPA.
awarding the
Okay.
bid.
We're just awarding the bid to them
That's
so they
all
can
we're
move
doing.
forward.
We're
They
just
can't go to
awarding
LIPA
the
without
bid.
this.
I just don't want them to tie up the landfill if they get
No.
rejected based on,
If you take a look at your resolved clauses, I think it makes
Yeah,
it
it's
clear.
pertinent to a LIPA in connection to application and feasibility study and that.
actually, the first 3 resolves are spelled incorrectly. I'm looking at
I'm
it.
sorry, I've been doing
Resolve
my
that.
own technical.
Resolve all of them. Oh, not all of them, 3 of them.
It's okay.
All right, can I, I'd like to
didn't
call
say
the special board meeting for August 16th, scheduled for 11:45 to order. Can we start with the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
George, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have one resolution to call, 637. Julie, you're going to be our clerk, deputy clerk today?
Yes,
Can we call that resolution?
resolution 637.
Awards bid for landfill renewable energy project, so moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio?
Yes.
Gabrielson?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yeah.
Dunleavy?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Okay, any other
Have a great day.
business for the board meeting? No further business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion and we adjourn the town board
Second.
meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thanks,
Good.
Julie.
Very good.
All right,
Okay.
you, Paul,
We're gonna
Lonnie,
listen to, we're gonna
and
listen to
Chris.
the bikes now?
Come on up, and whoever else you have there.
The bikes.
Bicycle lockers.
Lonnie Wexler, State DOT.
Nice to meet you.
Jody Giglio.
You're with the New York State DOT? DOT?
Yes, how are you?
Hi.
How you
Paul
doing?
Spreer?
Oh, nice to meet you.
How are you?
Hello there. Jordan, how are you?
Lonnie, you're with, Mr. Wexler, you're with the New York State DOT?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yep. I got some
I have to slide your shit down to the young lady. I'll give one right to you there. All right.
Okay.
have some literature. First of all, I have these
brochures, just tells a little bit about the bicycle locker program. Sure. Okay.
Well, there you go.
Just try to kind of put it up where everybody can see it.
You want this stuff?
We've got visual aids and all that good stuff.
Okay.
You have an easel over there, would you like me to?
Know before you go, isn't that what they say on News 12?
That's right.
Weather station there?
Exactly right.
Okay, what is a bicycle locker
Okay.
program?
Bicycle locker program, we have had 180 bicycle lockers at 20 Long Island Railroad stations. And the purpose of the bicycle locker program is for somebody who wants to commute to say to the train station to their job. They have a secure place that they can lock up their bicycle from protected from the elements and from theft, as opposed to just legally tying up to a bike rack or sometimes a fence.
Right.
So we've had this program as part of our transportation demand management to encourage people to as alternative ways to get to work. Instead of taking their car, they can bike to work. So it's good for the environment, it's good for reducing congestion, air pollution, because it's one of a strategy of a menu of things, not alone by itself, but
It feeds into
Right.
the 501 New York
Right.
Rideshare program.
So
Just
we
to-
have, we have one employee that bikes, about 15 miles to work every single day.
okay, there you go.
Huh?
And he brings it into
Two?
the office.
Hey, bring it to the
Right.
office.
Well, now hopefully we can have a nice warm cozy place for them to keep their bike. But we work with Lanny just to kind of flesh out the group here. Terry and I belong to a group called 511 New York Rideshare. We work cooperatively under contract to the New York State Department of Transportation.
Okay.
The main mission as a whole for the group is to reduce the amount of single occupancy vehicles that are on the roads in Long Island. As Lanny alluded to, there are a variety of programs that we offer centered around carpooling and van pooling, and certainly a key piece of this is the bike locker program. The idea to encourage folks to seek out alternative and more environmentally friendly and certainly more economical ways to get to and from work. Up until recently, the state had been managing the bike locker program. 182 lockers that were pretty much all Lanny's at that point, and his primary responsibility was to not only manage them but to maintain them and take care of the day-to-day business that was attached to them. So in looking at the program as a whole and how we could be more efficient with it, we've taken on an initiative to reach out to different municipalities about taking over ownership of the lockers, and that's what brings us here today.
You want us to own them?
Yeah.
Who's paying for them?
Well, this is the rare thing. This is rare that you get. This is kind of a freebie, because right now lockers. There's some locations where the lockers are not well utilized. We like to put them in a location where they might get some use.
Do we have any in Riverhead?
No, not at this time.
But the train station and the EPCAL, now that we're embarking on the $3.5 million grant for the bike trail from EPCAL all the way to Iron Pier Beach, people may leave their bikes in the lockers and then drive from Port Jefferson or from other places in Suffolk County to EPCAL in order
EPCAL
to
would be a
take
good
that
place
bike
to
ride.
put them.
And you can,
EPCAL, it wouldn't really be a transportation, it wouldn't be an alternative transportation thing. It would be more probably
Recreational.
seniors leaving the
Okay.
bikes there as a recreational
Right,
spot,
yeah.
so they can drive to the bikes and then ride the trail.
Our take on it is that we'd rather have them be utilized than sit empty and waste money.
Right.
So,
But when we did have the triathlon, I noticed after the triathlon was over downtown, there were a lot of people that were riding their bikes to the train station and then taking their bikes on the train with them. So this would also
Yeah, but they were going
encourage-
home.
Right, but this would
Go
also,
home. They weren't gonna leave it here and come back, they were gonna go home.
no, I know, but that's what this is for, John, so that when people from the city wanna come to Riverhead and they wanna ride around Riverhead, they would lock their
but
bike up in the locker.
Your example was wrong, because the people in the triathlon weren't gonna come back to Riverhead until next year. They were going home.
Well, how do you know, John? That's why we invited them here, because we wanted them to see how great Riverhead was. They might have locked their bike up and gone into the city and come back the following weekend.
Yeah,
Well,
but I think
here's-
he's
How
talking
long
about someone
term
that
is
works
this
in the
normally?
city.
It's something that you leave
I
for
think
a
he's
day
talking
or
about
during the
somebody that
day?
works in the city,
That's up to
that's
you
gonna
guys.
ride the bike to the train go to work,
It seems like we're going like
come
a day
home,
coming
get
to
on
work.
the bicycle,
You're
ride
in
home.
transportation
yeah,
aspect,
what
they
we-
don't
Right?
care, that's all
All right,
I'm
let's have
saying.
more conversation.
You care about you look at that broader spectrum.
So how it's managed now is, it's, people rent it as, they have an annual lease, so it's $60 for the year and then a $40 key deposit. And it's managed, it was being managed, through Metropol, but we've taken on, DOT has taken on directly the management of the bike lockers now. And, as far as the, other aspects that might be concerned about, what might be, let's say, what about maintenance, the minimal amount of maintenance to basically keep the locking mechanisms twice a year lubricated. Taking, as far as operations, would be somebody calling, find, hey, I'd like to rent a bike locker, and sending out the key to the individual.
What kind of key is it? Is it like a,
Tube key.
The tube key, right?
Okay.
The thing to keep in mind too, you know, as Lanny speaks to the terms on the lease of the lockers, you know, once you, you know, if you choose to take ownership of the lockers, there's nothing to say that you can't set these up as daily, weekly, monthly, or even hourly rentals.
You're gonna be the one that's gonna use it. Come on up here.
Want to see the bike rider?
No, he's the recreation
He's our recreation
supervisor.
guy.
If we're gonna take over management of him, that's your guy.
A business could also
Is that why you're here, Ray?
be there. There's,
It's always good to have the
All
rider.
right.
Business,
Ray,
business, they work with the business, the municipality.
Like Tanger.
if,
There's opportunity to brand them, to put advertising on them. you know.
Yeah, you can generate some revenue too.
but if
we
this
were
is
to-
the rental agreement.
if we were to do this in something like EPCAL, because that's where I don't see anybody using the trains. The kids that use the train, people that use the train station are Chaminade kids, one or two commuters, Sacred Heart kids, and that's it. So if you put these at the train station, they're only gonna be another place to look at, like a urinal. So I don't think
So
that
you
that's the
don't think
place to
that
put
you
them.
would tell your son, hop on your bike and go to the train station and park it in the locker and hop on the train and go to school?
I'm not having my son ride from Wading River to the Riverhead train
No.
station, no.
Or Yaphank, it's closer.
I wouldn't have my son, because there are not many commuters here.
Sure, understood.
So here's 2 or 3 places I can think of, maybe. There are not many train commuters, and because the rail service is so sporadic, they go to Ronkonkoma. And so putting them in the train station to me is a
Yeah.
huge waste.
Well, we
Well,
have,
the lockers
Cal?
here could work because of the employees that, ride
well, we
here.
have 100
They keep
bikes
them in the
up
locker
up
instead
there
of in
at
the
the train
office.
station. Because we have a lot of people that take the bus to Southampton to do their employment and come back.
You have 100 bikes at the
Well,
train station?
that's a lot, there's a lot of bikes up there, they're chained to everything up there. We
I
couldn't
don't
put
see 'em.
100 of these up there.
No,
I
we're
mean-
talking a very small quantity. We're talking
I
about
don't
That's
see
right.
100
Right?
bike lockers.
No, we're talking about-
And I don't know if those people would use these, for their bicycles.
John, you're right, and on Main Street too, we have a lot of bikes that are locked up around poles and
Yes,
stuff
around
like
poles.
that
Well,
I don't see it.
Yes, yes.
see
No,
these
we-
bikes?
Oh my gosh, at all the bus
Yeah, but
stops.
wait, there's a logistics
I mean-
problem here.
Dude.
How many,
At all the bus stops.
when you rent, you get that lock, the whole locker for yourself.
Correct.
And how many bikes can you get in there? Looks like
One.
you get- You only get one in that big box?
One.
Well, it's
So-
Two lockers in one.
It's
With
two
two in each
sided.
one,
One
they're
side,
pie shaped,
side.
right,
So
it's
it's,
two,
what you're
two
saying
per
it's
locker.
8, this is
Right.
actually 8.
Right,
You're seeing
Right.
4.
right.
So it's taking a tremendous amount of property to put 100
I
of those
think it would
boxes.
be really neat at EPCAL, and then
Yeah,
some of
somewhere
the
we've got
seniors
room.
that might wanna use it for recreation.
I would definitely suggest starting off very modestly, not.
Yes, that's what,
Yes.
yes, right.
So-
I agree with you.
You know, we've got approximately 6 lockers available right now,
Oh,
so.
so see, they can,
Under the heading of, you know, walking before.
well, that's 12 bikes, 6 lockers, 12 bikes.
Lanny, is it
Right?
three?
It's,
Pickleball already will love
it's
this.
6 it's 6 altogether, three lockers or six bikes.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't put all 6 of them there, you know.
Start it out.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
but I
great
mean,
test
I wouldn't,
pilot, I mean, we're
take
giving it
it
to you
on
for
6.
nothing.
To try it out.
You
It's
install
minimal
them.
amount,
Six
we'll
of them
install,
back.
we'll install it,
anything for free.
well, actually, we'll relocate, I won't vouch the store, I have to talk to our, because I can't commit to
You
installation.
probably have to put a concrete pad
Right,
down. Just
right.
part of that, Zabby introduced me to the UN project, Agenda Project 21, or UN
Agenda 21.
Agenda 21, Zabby of all people. Is this part of that?
Oh, which,
Biking to work, all this stuff? Never mind.
yeah, it's all part of the,
I have to leave.
Yeah.
Part of the initiative.
Yeah.
I gotta leave.
Okay.
I gotta leave.
Okay.
Thank you.
I agree with you, I know
I-
what you're talking
I
about.
would like to, let's, before you leave, I would think EPCAL would be a good place to put them.
Yes.
Because it's, we're trying to promote
Well,
that
and
bike.
a
right near
ball
the dog
field,
park.
somebody could
We
ride,
got the
ride
cement
their
slab there.
bikes at ball fields, we have ball fields up there. And
We could put
they-
them all right at that ball field.
And let them,
Yeah.
right.
Let me ask, how would you promote them, the lockers? Because that's the key thing.
Ray, how
to
would
be
you promote
successful.
them?
Well,
Oh,
first,
Ray,
Right behind
he's in
you.
charge of the ball fields.
We'll come up with a plan.
He's pretty good.
You know, and again, just to go back to the revenue potential, if there's a local deli or, you know, business that wants, a bike shop that wants to
Or bike shop.
advertise on the side of the lockers.
Yep.
You know, there's certainly room
We
for
have a
signage there as
Twin
well.
Forks bicycle right on Main Street.
Yeah.
So maybe he wants to, but don't put his name on it, I mean, his phone number on it. And if the font, it
No,
might be
I agree, we should use them, and,
So that, you have 6, so what?
That's right.
6 gives you 12 bikes, I
Gives
say
you
put
12
it at
bikes.
six
EPCAL.
bike, it'd be three,
Three.
six
It was
bikes.
boxes and
Yeah.
oh,
So-
3 bucks, I thought you said 6.
Three
Bikes is 6 bikes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so it's
Yeah.
3 boxes, oh,
Let's do it as a
yeah.
recreational
Activity
heart
available.
health
Let's just start
initiative,
this
is that
and-
okay?
yeah.
Branch out.
That would work.
A recreational heart health initiative.
Yep.
Oh, wait, you like EPCAL? I like
Yeah.
EPCAL,
I
you
like
like EPCAL?
Yep.
We'll put it, you know what, we'll put it next to the animal,
But right near the dog park.
Right by the dog
We
park.
got a couple cement slabs there already that don't have benches on them. I
Good.
bet we already got the
we're gonna
foundation.
put them near the dog park, so you can actually have your dog pull you to work, pull you on the bike.
We might do-
Or
You
you,
take
no,
them to
you
the park
leave
so they
your,
don't pull you.
you leave your dog in the park and you ride your bike around. Are you good with the EPCAL?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is an awareness that
Where,
this
Why they're
is
there.
available.
Yeah.
And how do you make these people aware?
well, we've
Oh,
done,
Artie, pickleball Artie, you'll be all over that.
Yeah,
what we've
Okay,
done with
good.
other municipalities is start is the website, town website, newsletters, if you have a town newsletter,
No, we have a website.
yeah.
But most places need a lottery because there's such a limited
I'm
number,
definitely in
so
favor.
then
I
you don't
have
have
to
to
go
put it
with
on your
him.
car to go there. Every time you wanna go ride, you can just leave it there.
The senior thing?
Yeah, I missed
Yeah. The town of Hempstead did a lottery, they did, the town of Hempstead did a lottery, they've actually filled up, they filled up almost all their lockers, eight bike lockers altogether this past spring, which was quite successful.
Okay, so,
We've agreed, obviously, on a location, what next steps in terms of working this through. Chris, I'll be in touch with you, and certainly Lanny, obviously, and we'll work through
Don't
on
That's
put
a
a
great-
reso on for
taking
next
delivery.
meeting to accept them,
as,
okay.
and model it as a heart health recreation type thing, I think that would be good.
fantastic.
Good.
And the only thing we would ask
Greenport
is,
took
yeah, the only
theirs.
thing we would ask is, for about 3 years, just to report on occupancy and that they're being maintained and.
Right, I
that's-
think, recreation was gonna take it on,
Yep,
We can work through that with you, Chris.
sure.
fantastic.
That's great.
Yep, very
All right,
good.
thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Good. Hey, I would like to get something free from the state.
It's rare, I tell you, it doesn't happen much these days.
Let's, can I get a motion to go into executive session, and we're gonna run right in there now to
Motion to executive
discuss,
session, discuss.
Thank you again. Thank you, sir.
Into your office, Sean?
Yeah, accounting, personnel, accounting department,